Well, well, well. So we get through another week of the playoffs, and there's a lot of interesting things to talk about as it pertains to the playoffs. But as I keep looking at these playoffs, I can't help but to think about the Dallas Cowboys and the things that the Dallas Cowboys need to do. The defense, the type of defense I would like to see the Dallas Cowboys have. And so as I look at the playoffs and how they are turning out, and this week was probably the most revealing week because of some of the terrible quarterback play that we saw, I'm starting to wonder if the Cowboys have interviewed enough people for the defense coordinator search. Y'all tell me. We're about to talk about it. Let's talk Cowboys. We're about to talk facts. Yep. Y'all know what time it is. It is time to talk about our beloved Dallas Cowboys. Man, and I am telling y'all, this Cowboys coaching search has got me all in my feelings. I'm just telling you. Welcome, Cowboy fans and Cowboy haters alike. I'm the G, and I'm the host of Let's Talk Cowboys, where we talk facts. And as you come into this live stream, please hit that like button, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell so you know the next time we post another video or go live. And we are live. And if you haven't become a channel member subscriber yet, what are you waiting on? We still got a lot more Cowboys to talk about. Now let's talk facts. Cowboy fans, I'm concerned. Forgive me, but I'm concerned. I am concerned about the next Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator. Because this is going to make or break the Cowboys. I'm just telling you right now. It's going to make or break the Cowboys. And there'll be no more excuses. There will be no more, and there can be no more. There are no more excuses. The Cowboys are going to have to hit on this defensive coordinator. And not only are they going to have to hit on this defensive coordinator, they got to get this defensive coordinator the players. The players that will fit the system that he wants to run. And I want to talk about these expectations also that we have about this defense coordinator. I think there's a lot of things that we need to discuss. But let me tell you what the show gonna be about today. So, as we talk about the show today, this is gonna be our show today. We are going to talk about the Final Four. It seems that everybody's saying that there are 4 candidates that have made the Final Four. And it is these Final 4 that still has me worried. Because I'm just wondering, have we looked enough? Also, I want to talk about the head coach vacancy in the NFL. The NFL has a head coach vacancy problem. And I don't know if I've ever seen it this bad. I mean, we're talking about 10 teams. 10 teams that are going to have new head coaches. And because these 10 teams need head coaches, this is also affecting the defensive coordinator search. At least that's what I choose to believe. Then, I got a question for us. I've been thinking about releasing this as a video topic. And when I get to this topic, I want y'all to tell me yay or nay, should I release this as a video topic? I've heard nobody talking about this. But all I'm gonna say is for right now, hindsight is 20/20. And when I show you what I'm talking about, you'll see. This is gonna be a very interesting segment. And then I want to talk again about these ex-Dallas Cowboys in the playoffs. Because it's making me wonder about all of these ex-Cowboys in the playoffs. We're not in the playoffs. They're in the playoffs. And some of these players have actually been major contributors to the teams in the playoffs. And it makes me wonder, why didn't we keep some of these players? We're going to talk about that. And finally, we're going to have some fun at the end. And we're going to talk about the playoff results from this past week. I got a lot to talk about with these playoff results. Got a lot to talk about. So that's going to be the show for today. The final four of the Dallas Cowboys defensive coordinator search, head coach vacancy problem, hindsight is 2020, ex-Cowboys in the playoffs, and the playoff results. Let's go. Roll call. Let's go. Big Mouse Dog, what up with your Big Mouse Dog? Big Rumbowski, he said, well. No interview lined up with Brian Flores. Yeah, we're going to have to talk a little bit about Brian Flores. Not a whole lot, but a little bit. Maybe Flores didn't want to give Jerry Stevens a shot at the time of day. Jacob Jackson, what's going on with you? Good to see you. My sister, the Queen. What up? What's going on, Queen? Keek up in this thing. What up, Keek? John Jones, he said, what up, G Money? It's a New Jack City. You know what I always tell you. Money talks and Bullcorn runs a marathon. Let's go. Jeremy Betts, what's up? Brandy says, what up, my loves? She said, I want us to get Flores, but he's going to be a head coach. We're going to talk about that. Clifford, what's going on, Cliff? Yeah, man. Hey, we're going to talk about this thing with the Rams beating the Chicago Bears. Man, somebody got to talk to me about why would Caleb Williams throw an interception like that. I'm sorry. It's like somebody called him on the phone and said throw an interception right there. That's a crazy interception, man. That's crazy. Tony Perry, what up with you? Larry Golden, Dwight Hughes, Top Gunner, Richard Pattis, Buddy Johnson, what up? Duckface, quack, quack. He said, I personally feel like we need to give Brian Flores a chance. He can be a big asset for our defense. Duckface. You know the part that don't make sense to me? Is the lack of an interview. Even if you're not going to hire Brian Flores, the lack of an interview is the part that don't make sense. Madman, Mills, what up? Ty Howard, Lord Nova, Lynn from the 903. Yeah. I want that Houston Texans defense for Christmas. I want it for Christmas. 72 Chevelle, what up? Frank Lawrence, what up, Frank Lawrence? Yep, coaching matters. And no Flores interview. Richard Owens, Devin Mills, Jamal Ism, what's going on? Ty Howard said, what's going on, G? Do you feel that way because you see other teams making moves on coordinators? Do you feel anxious? We're going to talk about it. Lord Nova, I said it last week. D-Law is laughing all the way to the bank on the Cowboys. I'm gonna make a video topic about that later on. I'm going to go in depth on this thing about D-Law. Mike Fields, appreciate you. The New York Giants is looking at Jones, interviewing them this week. Man, I'm telling you, the problem with some of these candidates, too, is that other teams are looking at them just as well as we are. Larry Golden from the Connecticut, what's going on? T-Wop, what up? Anthony Jefferson, Tony Nichols, Clifford, what up? Dak fan for life. Let's go. What's up, GKH17 from Alberta, Canada? What up? All right, let's get this thing started today. Give yourselves a hand, the best chat on YouTube. Brandy, $1.99 super chat. Brandy, this is going to be key. Free agency and the draft must be great when it comes to defense. And it's got to start with free agency. Everybody's talking about the draft, but I'm not as concerned about the draft at this point in time because I'm sorry, if you missing this draft, you just terrible. You're not terrible, you terrible. If you missing this draft, come on, man. You can't. Cowboys, it's a travesty if the Cowboys miss at number 12 and 20. Man, it's a travesty. It's too many great players. It is too many great players in the top 20 of this draft. The Cowboys could literally just say in the top 20 if they wanted to. It don't even require scouting. You could literally just say at 12 and 20, best player on the board. Best defensive player on the board. And the Cowboys should be able to hit. Come on, man. The draft ain't even worried. I'm not even worried about the draft as much yet. Brandy, free agency is where the Cowboys have got to hit. The Cowboys, in my opinion, they have to hit on day one. No more of this waiting to day two. Cowboys need to hit on day one. The Cowboys need to be looking at the top 100 and really probably the top 25 free agents of the top 25 defensive free agents. And they need to look at those top 25 and say, there's a player that we gotta be ready to overpay for. Man, you gotta spend to win. I'm sorry. Cowboys gotta stop all this being the smartest in the room, always trying to get that player that didn't hit with 3 or 4 other teams, looking for that player coming off injury. I mean, enough with this nonsense. Sometimes you just got to go to Old Faithful and say, let's get a player that's already hitting, like Kenny Clark, like Quinnen Williams. Let's keep that trend going. The Cowboys hit on Quinnen Williams because it was a no-brainer. Quinnen Williams is a top 3 defensive tackle in the NFL. That's what you call a surefire hit. So in free agency, they have got to look at the players that they are willing to overspend for. I'm sorry, but if I'm going into this year's free agency, I'm going to put it in my mind. What is the player that can make an impact on this team that we don't mind overpaying for? Man, I'm telling you, you do this in your personal life sometimes. There are certain things in your life that you're just willing to overpay for. You're just willing to overpay for them because you feel like they're going to make your aura. They're gonna make your aura better. I'm sorry. Tony Nichols, what up? McDermott. We'll talk about McDermott for the Dallas Cowboys DC, but let me give you quick answer on Sean McDermott. Sean McDermott is going to be a head coach again because the Buffalo Bills are dumb. They fired this man because of the choke job by one Josh Allen. That's why they fired this man. If there has ever been a scapegoat this year, it's Sean McDermott. And everybody kind of knew Sean McDermott was going to get fired, not because of him, but because of Josh Allen. That if they didn't go to the Super Bowl, it's Sean McDermott's fault. Man, get out of here. These people crazy. Buffalo gets whatever they deserve. They get whatever they deserve going forward. It's a travesty. All right, let's talk about this Final Four.
Yes! Here we go!
So this Cowboys Final Four. From what my understanding is, the Cowboys have narrowed it down. And I saw something over here on Below the Belt. I want to see what Bobby Belt is talking about on this issue. But they're saying that the Cowboys have narrowed it down to 4 coaches. Durante Jones, if I'm not mistaken, Durante Jones from Baltimore, the Gannon guy from Arizona that nobody seems to want, the guy from the Philadelphia Eagles, and, of course, Jim Leonard. Man, let me tell you something. The thing that happened to the Denver Broncos, it's an absolute tragedy. And it really made me start rethinking about backup quarterbacks in this league. Man, if you are a team that is serious about the playoffs, you might need to really try and get yourself a backup quarterback that can literally compete with your starting quarterback. You don't want him to be, it's not that he's going to be the starter over your quarterback, but maybe you go out there and you get you a backup that can truly, truly push your starting quarterback. Because your starting quarterback, you're already paying him all the money, so pretty much you're not going to replace him. But you still want that guy that pushes him. So it's not for him, but in case something happened, man, to go into the AFC Championship game with Stidham, man, I know Sean Payton is a master play caller, but golly, man. To go into the AFC Championship game with Stidham? Maybe, you know what? I have no dog in the fight, but maybe Stidham, maybe he'll pull a Nick Foles. I mean, maybe he'll be saying this is my opportunity. Maybe he rises to the occasion. But man, it really made me think. The backup quarterback, man, boy, we might better stop undervaluing that backup quarterback, because you mess around and get you a defense like the Houston Texans, the Denver Broncos, the Seattle Seahawks, and your quarterback go down. Man, the Denver Broncos is bringing in Ben DiNucci. What? Man, you got to bring in Gucci DiNucci? Hey, you know, hopefully I guess in the grand scheme of things, you hope you don't have to play him. But man, Sean Payton, you got to do better than that, bro. Ben DiNucci? Come on, man. You got to do better than that. But again, I'm sorry, but I want to check out Bobby Belt. Bobby Belt over here below the belt. They're talking about the Cowboys' plans as far as the defensive coordinator goes. And it looks like, from what my understanding is, again, everybody keeps talking about these final four. And it seems like a lot of people are saying it's going to be Durante. They're saying it's going to be Durante Jones. 72 Chevelle, let me tell you something. I thought about this yesterday. This tells you about what this league thinks about Cam Newton. I don't think Cam Newton is that old. It is crazy to me that when people start thinking about emergency quarterbacks, they don't think about Cam Newton. Do y'all know Cam Newton is only 36 years of age? Let that sink in. 36 years of age. They bought Phillip Rivers back from the graveyard, and he's, what, 40 plus? And I'm telling you right now, Cam Newton is still in great shape. Cam Newton is still in great shape. But man, this league is telling us, they like, no, we don't want no parts of Cam Newton. And I understand too. Cam Newton is a very polarizing quarterback. Cam Newton is that type of quarterback that's like Shedeur Sanders. You can't have Cam Newton on your team. You can't have Cam Newton on your team because he's such a personality that I don't think he would be putting pressure on your quarterback as far as playing better per se, but just maybe the from the perspective of popularity. And I think that's where Cam Newton kind of gets you, and why. And, you know, I don't think people think his football knowledge is that good, because when he went to the New England Patriots, I mean, when it comes out that Mac Jones is helping you with the playbook, and I think the thing with Cam Newton, too, is that Cam Newton, you have to be smart to play quarterback, so let's not call him dumb. But I don't know if he's necessarily that kind of quarterback that is the classroom quarterback. I mean, I think he knows coverages and those types of things, but I don't know if he's really that type of quarterback, though. Because, again, like I said, Mac Jones comes in and he's teaching you about Bill Belichick's system. I'm struggling with that. But nevertheless, 36 years old. Brandy said I think she said he looks 46. That's because of his hair. Brandy said, Jerry, you go O-line in first round, we fighting. Brandy, I'm going to crash. I'm going to have a Christian crash out if Jerry does that. I'll have a Christian crash out if Jerry does that. All right. Let's check out Bobby Belt, and then we're going to continue our discussion on the Final Four.
Take off my belt.
Don't make me take off my belt.
We're not. Over to you, Bobby.
Why Sean McDermott should be the next Cowboys defensive coordinator.
You can't even say it without
I couldn't.
stuttering.
I was about ready to vomit just saying that. Let's not talk about that here in Below the Belt, which is sponsored by D&M Leasing and Window Nation. Sean McDermott is out in Buffalo, but that is, I say that, there are going to be people who tweet about it, who are going to say, oh, Cowboys should get him. Former head coach. He had success as a coordinator with the Eagles and Panthers, but we're all out on that idea, right? We don't want anything to do with that.
Out.
He would be the oldest candidate they've interviewed by 5 years, even at 52 years old, which I think would be close to the youngest candidate they've interviewed. In like
Cowboys take a left tackle. If the Cowboys take a left tackle, Mills, Christian crash out for me, bro. Christian crash out for me.
Like that would have been the close to the youngest candidate they interviewed in the last 4 hiring cycles for defensive coordinator. They just don't hire young defensive coordinators.
I don't know what Buffalo has done with all their money.
Spend it on wings.
They can't be near the top of spending because when I'm thinking about them defensively, I think of Matt Milano, old Tre'Davious White, who doesn't think
Buffalo
that he
spent a lot of money, bro.
Committed a foul or had early contact with the Broncos receiver, which he absolutely did. Who are we talking about that's left there?
Jordan Poyer got paid a lot.
He's old.
They paid a lot of money to Von Miller a couple off seasons ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Buffalo
They don't
spent a
have
lot
any
of money.
receivers. They just paid James Cook, but it's still a running back salary. Where's the money in Buffalo? Where are they in spending?
So I'm looking on over the cap.
Ed Oliver, Deion Dawkins, those are some of the higher paid guys.
Yeah. This is not a great roster to me.
Yeah, over the cap, their cap space is in the red. It's 11.6 million over. An effective cap space is 17.4. It's minus in the negative.
Their second biggest cap hit go to next year's Dawson Knox. That's their second biggest.
See? You want to get on Josh.
They don't have hardly any dead
Hell
cap
no.
either.
You know why Dawson Knox is the second highest? Because Josh is taking up all that space with his loser performances.
They have $400,000 in dead money. That's it. How?
I know.
I mean, they do have. So if you look at Dallas's roster, for instance, they don't have many guys who are making more than $8 million on their cap hits. Right?
They got 9 guys making 11 or more.
So they've got a lot of guys who
Openings a head coach, they can't be great for a team searching for a DC like us, right?
Well, I think that's why Dallas got into the market as quick as they did. As quick.
Shoddy got into the market.
Yes. Where I know there were a lot of people who were like, well, they still waited a day. They were still behind. It's well, they did also start defensive coordinator interviews earlier than any other team did in the NFL this year. So they weren't that behind.
I'm riding with Brian Schottenheimer till the wheels fall off. But I'm telling you right now, I'm in second year mode already on Brian Schottenheimer. I'm in second year mode on Brian Schottenheimer, and I'm not being negative. I'm just being real, and I'm gonna tell you what I'm talking about. Brian Schottenheimer has the gift of gab, but I'm already in the mode of no more talking. No more talking for me as it applies to Brian Schottenheimer. Put up or shut up. It's put up or shut up time for me with Brian Schottenheimer. I'm telling y'all now what I know about Brian Schottenheimer after a year. Brian Schottenheimer has all the answers. Brian Schottenheimer is that person that if you're sitting in class and you're asking for the answers, Brian Schottenheimer gives you all the answers in the class. But when the test comes, then you get his test scores and you go, how did you get a 70 on the test? You got a 70 on the test, but when I heard you in class, you were giving all the answers, and I'm thinking you're going to make 100. And on the test, you got a 70. I didn't say 70, I said a 70. Yeah, you got a 70. It's one thing to know the answers. It's another thing to give it's another thing for the answers to come out on the test. And the test is on the field. I don't understand why these guys like this. And I don't know why anybody at this point. Why are we so excited about Brian Schottenheimer choosing the next defensive coordinator? Why are we so excited about that? I don't know if I'm excited about that because I'm accepting, and I don't care what the percentage is. I'm accepting the part that Jerry talked about. Jerry said he had everything to do with Matt Eberflus. Everything to do with it. So I'm still concerned. I'm just hoping we make the right decision. I'm just hoping we make the right decision because I'm very concerned. And I don't understand why people, let me just show you how people don't think. They're acting like Shotty is heading this thing up, like Jerry and Steven are still not going to have some say-so. Stop this, man. It's crazy talk. It's crazy talk. To think that Brian Schottenheimer is going to solo dolo choose the next defensive coordinator. I'm not buying it. This is the same process with just more candidates that it was last year. They are all still going to have some input on this coach. I'm just not sold on this yet. I got to see this come to fruition. And when it comes to fruition, I'll be the first one to tell you I'm glad Shotty made the right decision. But I'm telling you where I am with Brian Schottenheimer right now. It is put up or shut up time for me. Shoot, it's put up or shut up. Because I have watched I have watched coaches who haven't said a word. And they are producing. They are absolutely producing. And I'm telling you, this is why for me, Jerry has got to go out and get Brian Schottenheimer. He's got to go out and get this team the best defensive players available. So there'll be no more excuses. I either want this, I want the best. So if the coach isn't as good, the players can make up for where maybe the coach isn't as good. This is why, for me, the players are important. But at the end of the day, coaching matters. Coaching matters. Kyle Shanahan, man, with bukus of injuries. Kyle Shanahan deserves to probably be the coach of the year. But I still say Ben Johnson, boy, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. Between him, Ben Johnson, and, man, the job that Mike McDonald is doing in Seattle. Oh, my gosh. Man, the job this dude is doing in Seattle. Wow, is all I can tell you. Coaching matters. But you got to have them players, too. Let me get a couple more greetings in here. Miss Matrix is in the crib. What up, Miss Matrix? I see you, Davion Wallace. What's going on? Davion Wallace, 72 Chevelle. My man, Kevin Edwards. What is going on? Devin Mills. What up? What up? Lost in translation. He said, I hate to say this, but we need a right tackle, an experienced defensive end, and a rookie linebacker in the corner. Well, I don't know why you hate to say it. I don't know why you hate to say it. We got an offensive line problem, and we got a tackle problem. And we're going to have to really make a decision, and we got to make it quicker and sooner than later. I know the Cowboys said that Ty Smith is going back to left guard, but I think they're going to really have to think about that. I mean, they're going to really have to think about that at Ty Smith at left guard. I mean, they're going to really have to consider, should we really move into left tackle and find us a left guard? Because I'm telling y'all, I believe left tackle is harder to find than left guard. And when you can find somebody that can play left tackle, I would rather go and try to get a left guard than a left tackle. Man, them left tackles are hard to find. They really are. And so as it applies to Tyler Guyton, man, you might have to kick him out to right tackle. But listening to Stephen Jones, Terrence Steele is there to stay. You listen to Stephen Jones, Terrence Steele is there to stay out there at right tackle. So we're going to see. Shoot, Mills, let me tell you something. I don't think Jerry will put up with another 7-10 season. I don't think he'll put up with it. Devin Mills said Jerry wants a coach he can control no matter how it looks. They won't go after Flores because he still has an issue with the league, and I'm really not riding with Leonard. Devin, let me tell you something that's crazy about Brian Flores. Brian Flores should be making a tour right now of these open head coaching jobs. And from what my understanding is, I don't see it. I think he's got another interview of Pittsburgh Steelers. So Baltimore Ravens, for what my understanding is, and Pittsburgh Steelers. Brian Flores should be interviewing with every team that needs a head coach should be interviewing. But we know why that is. You know, the lawsuit. Brandy said them wheels falling off. Gee, I was really mad at the DC position, which made me mad at Shotty. It was the worst display of defense I ever seen. Brandy, some people are giving Shotty the benefit of the doubt. But I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also going to give him some culpability. Top Gun, he said, gee, you ever think Shotty might not be the right head coach for the boys? Ooh. Bill says Shotty needs to be relieved of play calling duties. I've been saying this. I don't think he's a good play caller. Mike McDaniel, probably Mills. Mike McDaniel is probably going to get another head coaching job. The big Rambowski, he says Shotty has all the answers with no results. Yeah. Don't be wasting people's time telling them about your process when your results are boo-boo. See, Rambowski, I said this about Brian early on. I realized early on he has the gift of gab. He has all the answers. It just doesn't translate. Now, he's a first-year head coach. But how do we give him... I could see if we were talking about a 38-year-old Mike McDonald. Man, Mike McDonald is in his second season. He's in the NFC Championship game. Cohen for the Jaguars, first year. I mean, I don't remember anybody saying the Jaguars exactly had a killer roster. Man, I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt because of Matt Eberflus. But, man, I need to put up a shut-up this year. I really do. 72 Zavell said he knows everything but don't know much after 25-plus years. Hasn't done nothing play calling, was back from the 80s. Man, he looked better under Mike McCarthy. He really did. Captain Chaney, he said, I think we're excited because we literally can't get worse on defense. I think that's the case, too. I think some people are excited because they say anything is better than Matt Eberflus. Mills said probably Shotty's going to select Whitecott, and I hope they don't. Larry Golden said, you're 100% right. I'm tired of listening to Shotty about his process. That doesn't work every time. It doesn't work. He takes responsibility. No more excuses. And I want him to take responsibility of being on the hot seat. Roberta said the problem with the Cowboys is Jerry Jones, egotistical, wanting to be in control of everything. Brandy, I never would have hired Matt Eberflus. Never. But again, Brandy, when you listen to Jerry says he likes those quarterbacks. I mean, he likes those coaches that fail and then they have something to prove. In the mind of our beloved Jerry Jones, bro, sometimes you got to look at why they failed, though. Raven, I did an expose on Josh Allen. I did an expose on the G Sports Nation. And I'm telling you, I told the truth on Josh Allen, bro. The Buffalo Bills fired Sean McDermott because of Josh Allen. Straight up, bro. Straight up. I don't want to hear nothing about Josh Allen anymore in this league. Dan Orlowski over there. Dan Orlowski is out there killing the Buffalo Bills offensive line, saying it's their fault they didn't recover the fumbles that Josh Allen had. Make it make sense, man. Make it make sense. All right, let's support Bobby Bill.
But they've got I think to be able to kind of evaluate the market, figure out where things were, because they knew the more coaches that got hired, the more defensive staffs are turning over, the more that would change the whole landscape of who's available. But I mean, as it continues to go on, like I said, I mean, you've got Gannon that'll come in for an in-person interview tomorrow. The other two that are set up for in-person interviews at this point are Durante Jones, the defensive passing game coordinator from the Minnesota Vikings, who is 47 years old. He's the oldest candidate they've interviewed. And then the next one will be Christian Parker, who's one of the youngest interviews that they've had scheduled, but he's the defensive passing game coordinator from the Eagles. So right now, it feels like they've kind of centered around those. I was really hoping the Bills would win over the Broncos just to be able to free up and get the answer of is Leonard getting one of those interviews? Jim Leonard from Denver. They win. They continue on for another week. If they were to, regardless, after that, you can interview him. But it delays things another week to 10 days to be able to find out, all right, is Jim Leonard one of the guys you want? They waited around to see if Jeff Ulbrich would be freed up with the Falcons.
Now, Jim Leonard. The Cowboys are going to have to tip their hands now on Jim Leonard. Everybody said Jim Leonard was the favorite. They're going to have to tip their hands. Because if they really want Jim Leonard, we're going to really know now, because they're going to have to delay this for at least another week. I mean, with Jared Stidham, I mean, boy, you want to talk about the X-Files music. Oh, my gosh. I mean, Bo Nix finishes the game, and then it comes out after the game, the dude broke his ankle or broke a bone in his ankle. I mean, you want to talk about crazy. But nevertheless, the Denver Broncos are playing another week. So if Jim Leonard is truly the favorite, we're about to find out. We're about to find out if Jim Leonard is truly the favorite. Because if the Cowboys wait another week to make a decision, which I'll be honest with you, I don't see what the rush is. I don't see what the rush is. If I were the Cowboys, I would probably wait a little bit longer. And the reason why I would wait a little bit longer, unless I think I got a guy that I can't wait on because somebody else is going to snatch him up, I'm not sure they have a candidate like that. So if I'm the Cowboys, if I want Jim Leonard, we're about to see if they tip their hand and try to hold this off another week. Also, why isn't anybody talking about coaches on the Seattle Seahawks staff? Anybody looked at the Seattle Seahawks defense lately? It has to be one of the most well-rounded defenses out there. I don't think it's the best defense. The best defense went home this weekend. The best defense went home this weekend because C.J. Stroud stunk it up like a stable full of horse manure. I mean, just stunk it up like chitlins that hadn't been cleaned well. And even when you clean them well, they still stink. C.J. Stroud sold one of the best defenses I've seen in years. Wow. Man, if I'm the Houston Texans, I'm immediately bringing somebody in to challenge C.J. Stroud for that job. I'm getting somebody to challenge C.J. Stroud. There is no way. And David Mulugeta is his agent. I don't give a doggone what nobody say. David Mulugeta won't get a deal. He won't get the Jordan Love deal out of me for CJ Stroud. If any team, if you don't use CJ Stroud and Jordan Love as a cautionary tale, hell, you get whatever you deserve if you pay them. Shoot, man, you get what you deserve. It's a doggone shame, boy. Sold out the best defense I think I've seen in the last 5 years. Houston Texans defense was nasty last year, came back nasty this year. And CJ Stroud, oh my gosh. Bro, I can understand you don't have your wide receiver and Dalton Schultz goes out. But there is no excuses for fumbling and interceptions. There's just no excuse. But again, the Cowboys, they're going to have to tip their hands. We're going to see if they really want Jim Leonhard. Because if they want him, they're going to have to interview him on Zoom. Because he'll be playing another week. And again, if I were the Cowboys, maybe you start looking at some of the Seattle staff too. I'm actually surprised nobody started talking about Seattle staff. I mean, these guys are, man, Seattle is over there just beating the brakes off teams. I don't understand it. I don't understand it. Lolly said, what's up, Cowboys family in Houston? He said, I'm in Houston watching the Texans yesterday with my Texans fans friends. Was harder than any Cowboys game all season. Wouldn't have been hard for me, Lolly. Because I'd have been up in that thing clowning had I been watching the game. Because matter of fact, my son is a Houston Texans and CJ Stroud fan. Man, we were clowning him all day long yesterday. We were clowning him, boy. CJ Stroud sold him. Somebody need to check his bank account in Switzerland. The Big Brombowski said, is it worth moving Tyler Smith to left tackle if he'll end up being less effective at that position than what he is at left guard? That's my biggest worry. He looked pretty good when they put him out there. But I'll tell you this, Big Brombowski, they don't move him out there, they're going to have a problem. They're going to have a problem. And I'm telling you, guys, left tackle is hard to fix. I'm worried about Guyton, man. Left tackle is hard to fix, man. It absolutely is. It's hard to fix. It's hard to fix. Clifford said, G, you right. Offensive tackle. And another thing, McDermott is not going to be no defense coordinator. Ain't no way. He's going to be a head coach. Because he got sold. He is the scapegoat. Sean McDermott, and I don't know how he's going to do it on his next stop. Sean McDermott's going to be a head coach. There's no doubt about it. I believe he's going to be a coach for Cleveland or Baltimore or Pittsburgh. Now, Cleveland, I think Jim Schwartz is going for his second interview for the Cleveland Browns, so I can see that happening over there. But I do believe Sean McDermott's going to be a coach. I mean, I could see him being in Pittsburgh. Aussie said Shotty Pride won't get a real OC. I don't think Jerry will let him. Jerry said the only reason why he's the coach is that he's calling plays. Brady said they must be looking at another Steele because Terrence Steele is regressive. No doubt. No doubt. But Steven said he's over there to stay. Jesse Gardner, we can't give up on the Cowboys. But what I'm in right now, Jesse, I'm in Super Bowl mode. I'm in Super Bowl mode because of Dak Prescott. The Cowboys have got to cash in. You don't pay a quarterback $60 million and he's playing the way Dak Prescott is playing, and you got CeeDee Lamb. They're going to sign George Pickens. You have got to cash in on this. They have got to get Dak Prescott a defense, and this defensive coordinator is going to be crucial. Mike T, he said, G, coaches only can bring to some level, but it's the players to bring it. Yeah. That's why I say they got to get him the players. That's why, I don't know if you heard me earlier, Mike T. That's why I want the Cowboys to get players so good that if the defensive coordinator is okay, they'll still be good. You got to get the players too. You have got to get the players. Now, when you don't have the players, it really shows how good the coaches is. Because I'm telling you, man, what Saleh did over with the 49ers, man, I'll be shocked if Saleh's not a head coach. What him and Kyle Shanahan pulled off, man, I'll be shocked. Robert Saleh did an incredible job with that defense. Now, I already knew it was going to be a slaughter when they got to the 49ers. I mean, when they got to the Seattle Seahawks. Man, Seattle too much, man. Seattle too much. That's a well-oiled machine. You're not going to beat Seattle missing players. You got to have all hands on deck. You got to have all hands on deck to beat a team like that. You do. Rodney, you ask a great question. What makes a DC a good head coach? A lot of people say because he has a defensive mind. So they feel like his defensive mind is going to have an influence on the defense itself. And so they believe, and it is true, defense wins championships. We're kind of watching that this past week. I mean, these last couple of weekends, defense wins championships. But, Jonathan Gannon, defensive-minded coach, didn't work. Dan Quinn, defensive-minded coach, didn't win the Super Bowl, got to the Super Bowl, didn't win, got to the NFC Championship game, didn't win, regressed last year. So it don't always mean that just because you get a head coach that used to be a DC, that it's going to turn out. But I understand why they do it, because defense wins championships. I mean, this has been one of the knocks on Mike Tomlin. This is one of the knocks on Mike Tomlin. Everybody is tripping because he's a defensive-minded coach, and while they've been good defensively, they haven't been as dominant as you would believe they should be. So that's why a lot of people, they think those DCs make good head coaches. But if you think about Jerry Jones thinks differently. Jerry Jones, for the most part, he really likes offensive-minded coaches. Jerry likes them offensive-minded coaches because Jerry think you can outscore everybody. You can't outscore everybody. You can't outscore everybody. You gotta understand you're gonna have some teams that you're gonna have to hold them from scoring in order to outscore them. So, yeah, that defense coordinator thing doesn't always work. And that's why right now, though, Brian Schottenheimer's here because Jerry thinks he's an offensive genius, which he may be changing his mind on that.
Now that Kevin Stefanski's been hired there, he's not going to be an option because Stefanski's going to retain Ulbrich. But
Jim Schwartz.
Jeff Ulbrich was a blow to the Cowboys. They wanted Ulbrich. Of course, as Bobby is reporting, not going to happen.
Was getting like second interviews with Cleveland. Like he's been there.
Yeah, he's been there. What do you need 2 interviews for?
Does that feel like...
God, if you're a Browns fan and you hear that, you're just like, but I have a perfect Browns fan that I worked with in Rockford, Illinois about 22 years ago or something. And these they're so nice. They're just nice suckers. Mm-hmm. And I feel for them and I want them to win. But anything they do, they're just like brown-colored glasses. Like, yeah, I kind of want Schwartz and McDaniel. I'd be fine with McDaniel. Let's go Dylan Gabriel. Like, they're just like your nice friend that supports anything that their crappy loser organization does. They hired Jim Schwartz. That's a ugh.
Would you like that, Holland? Derek Holland, if you're listening,
No,
tell us if
I
you
guarantee
would
he would
love
not like Jim Schwartz. Nobody wants Jim Schwartz running their organization. You want him running your defense.
Yeah,
you want him running your defense, maybe. Although he is... Reports, everybody says he's dirty. Dirty.
I think that's because they mix him up with Greg Williams sometimes. Honestly,
it's the whole Jeff Fisher. You're connected with Jeff Fisher at all, right?
Nick Harris tweeted over the weekend, Cowboys Insider Forward Star Telegram, hearing some good reviews on the Cowboys interview from Durante Jones for DC. He impressed some people in the building. Efficient communicator, a big deal in this search. Confident in what he preaches. He's been the surprise of the search so far. Team now directing attention to...
Let me say this before we go on and listen to Durante Jones. It's guys like this. I don't know. I'll just tell you this. So they're talking about Jim Schwartz. But Jim Schwartz is the kind of guy you do want. You would want Jim Schwartz. You would want Jim Schwartz as a defensive coordinator. And truth be told, you might even want Jim Schwartz as your head coach because he has a nasty mentality. Jim Schwartz wouldn't fit with the Cowboys, even though Jim Schwartz is the kind of coach I believe the Cowboys need to change up and hire. And I'm not saying they need to hire Jim Schwartz, but I'm saying Jadavia and Clowney pointed this out about the Cowboys. Jadeveon Clowney pointed out the country club atmosphere of the Dallas Cowboys. A guy like a Jim Schwartz, a guy like a Brian Flores, they really would help you to get out some of that country club atmosphere. The Cowboys got an issue with that. I really think they do. And that country club issue started when they let go of Jimmy. And I'm telling y'all who was the beginning of the country club atmosphere in Dallas. It was Barry Switzer. Barry Switzer was running a country club. I mean, man, when you look at that Netflix special, it's like, what? This dude, Barry Switzer, was letting these guys leave practice. Oh, we're not practicing well today. Let's go home. Go to the pool. Go have fun, whatever the case may be. Jerry started that country club nonsense with Barry Switzer. And for the most part, minus Bill Parcells, the Cowboys have had coaches that fit into that pristine, clean, Ivy League country club atmosphere. A guy like Jim Schwartz, this is the kind of guy you would bring in. You bring in a Brian Flores, you bring in guys like that, they change up that whole dynamic. Because the one thing you got to be careful of is when coaches and players come into Dallas, they get overwhelmed by this country club atmosphere. Because I do believe, and y'all tell me if I'm wrong, but when you think about the Cowboys, even when we're losing, there seems to be comfortability on this team. Even when we're losing. Even when we're losing, the uncomfortability for this team comes from the media. But in the grand scheme of things, it just seems like it's comfortability here, even when you're losing. I'm telling y'all right now, Matt Eberflus, love him, like him, or hate him, Matt Eberflus comes into Dallas. He was coaching comfortably. Even in his failure, he was coaching comfortably. I told y'all this, and I believe it. Matt Eberflus was coaching like his job was never on the line. By the time Matt Eberflus realized his job was on the line, it was too late. It was too late. By the time it really sunk into him, hold on a second. This ain't what I was told. Matt Eberflus was literally coaching like, I don't have the players. Jerry will get the players next year, so I'm going to put this thing on cruise control. We'll be okay, and, it'll be all good in 2026. But I believe the outcry was not just so bad from the media, the content creators, but the outcry, I believe, started coming from inside the building. And when it started coming from inside the building, Jerry had no choice. But Matt Eberflus, he blended right into that country club atmosphere. And he was basically coaching comfortable even while he was looking terrible. I mean, he was coaching comfortable. He was coaching like he was oblivious to what was going on. And the reason why I believe he was coaching like that is because, hey, man, Jerry likes continuity. Jerry hired me. Brian on board. Steven likes me. Been with the Cowboys. Oh, yeah, I'll be here. Ain't no big deal. Everybody know we don't have the players. I'll put this thing on cruise control. I'll run 97% zone. I don't think anybody would do that. Unless they thought they had job security. Y'all got to explain it to me. You only do that if you think you have job security. There's no way you coach the way Matt Eberflus did unless you thought you had job security. Even when we lose, it seemed like the people are comfortable. Because even Brian Schottenheimer, in a sense, Brian is trying hard. I'm not going to ever say he ain't trying hard. Brian is trying hard. But he's a guy that admits a lot of failures. It starts with me. It starts with coaching. Because Brian is that type of guy that he seems like, for me, if I admit that I'm wrong, that makes me look better in the eyes of people. Well, it does, but it only goes so far. Because eventually people don't want to hear you saying that you are the issue and you keep being the issue. I mean, people don't want to keep hearing that. When you admit your wrongs, people want, we want you to know, okay, well, now that you know what's wrong, we want you to fix it. 72 Chevelle says Schwartz is very respectful in the NFL. He always has a good defense. 72 Chevelle, that's why these guys, I don't really listen to them. Man, why wouldn't you want, man, you're crazy. Why wouldn't you want Jim Schwartz? Jim Schwartz is going to bring a certain type of nastiness to your organization. And I'm telling us, this is what this team is missing. Brian ain't nasty enough. That is one conclusion I have come to. Brian ain't nasty enough. And his DC needs to be nasty. They don't need to be looking for the country club DC. They need a nasty DC. They need somebody that comes in and we ain't putting up with this. And cursing don't make you nasty, Brian Schottenheimer. Cursing don't make you nasty, bro. Sometimes I told y'all this a couple of weeks ago. It's like Brian tries to pull out the tough coach kit. Oh, yeah, tough coach. Tough coach curses. Raises his voice. Gets his team to run a couple of wind sprints. And you know what? That stuff even wears off. No, man, nastiness is something that you really can't teach. You either are or you not. You either nasty or you're not. And the Cowboys need somebody to tear down that country club atmosphere. And Jim Schwartz would be one of those kind of guys. Big Rombowski said one tour of the store, and I think Jerry's country club atmosphere is here to stay. Yeah. I mean, Big Rombowski, players like it. Players like it. Coaches, I'm pretty sure they love it too. 72 Chevelle said, yes, players live the country club life with the new stadium and all easy living, not working for what they're getting paid for. I have said this for years. Man, Dallas is a great place to play. You just got to change the mentality. Derek said this is why we won't win 30 years. Woo. Why we haven't won, why we'll never win 30 years. Woo, yeah. It's like we don't want those kind of coaches that go against the grain. Cliff said, I really didn't think it was the defensive coordinator with some of the players. Cliff, I've been saying that. They got to change these players out. Because if not, you're going to have some of the same stuff. 2P, he said, country club, Taylor G, losing comfortability. Yeah. Yeah, we're comfortable losing. The fans aren't. The fans aren't comfortable losing. Some of the players are not comfortable losing. But Jerry Jones, as much as I love Jerry Jones, Jerry's a little comfortable losing sometimes. Jerry's a little comfortable losing. Now, he gets irritated and extremely ticked off when he loses the games that he thinks he ought to win, like the 2023 Green Bay Packers playoff game. But sometimes Jerry is comfortable losing. And the reason why I say he's comfortable losing, because Jerry don't always get this team the players that it needs. And then if he gets them the players they need, he don't get them the coaching that they need. It's just, you never can get the right combination. So at the end of the day, I think Jerry just needs to start doing he did a lot of things differently last year. They're doing it somewhat differently this year. Last year they had 3 candidates. This year they had 9. I still say I think the Cowboys need more candidates. I think they need more candidates. I would maybe add another couple in there. And then I would even get some interviews. I would get some interviews. Even if I'm not going to hire guys, I still want interviews of some of the best defensive minds in football. Even if I'm not hiring Jim Schwartz, I would ask Jim Schwartz, could you come in for an interview? Tell us, what would you do to fix this team? I would have to ask Jim Schwartz. I'd want to ask Brian Flores, man, let me tell you something. I know there ain't a chance in Hades that the Cowboys are going to get Sean McDermott at the defensive coordinator position. Guess what I'd do? I'd bring him in. I just want to hear what he has to say. Will Sean McDermott give me an honest assessment of my team? Just, hey, Sean, tell me what you think about the Cowboys. I'm telling you, I would be searching high and low to fix this issue with the Cowboys. Man, I'd bring in Mike Tomlin. I know there ain't a chance in Hades. Mike Tomlin is not going to coach this year. I just bring him in to ask him, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think we need to do? I mean, Cowboys got a lot of resources from the 92, 93, 95 Cowboys. Why not bring in a group of those guys? Bring in a whole group of them. Man, I'm talking about James Washington, Darren Woodson. Man, I'm talking about bring in the guys from that era. Bring in the Charles Haleys and just ask them, guys, what do you think we need to do to fix this? Where are we going wrong? Because the Cowboys have had some absolutely nasty players in the past. Bring them in. Ask them, man, what do you think we should do? What do y'all think about these coaches? Stop just using the guys in the building to help you make the decisions. Bring in guys who've been there, done it, and they are dogs. What do you think? You know, these coaches, what do you think? I'd even either take the interviews or I would let them sit behind one of those two-way mirrors, I guess it is. Interview these coaches, let them listen. And then I'd come back and, hey, you know what? Hey, so you just heard the interview. We've kind of seen the body of work. You've heard the interview. So what do you think? What do y'all think about this? Man, I'm just sorry I would. I would, because you got to fix this. You have to fix this defense because the offense is too good. And I'm not talking about Shotty's offense. I'm talking about the players on offense. They're too good. Because we're basically doing what C.J. Stroud did to the Houston Texans defense. We're doing the same thing to the Dallas Cowboys offense with this defense. We're just doing it in reverse. We're doing it in reverse. We have got to get some nastiness in this country club. I'll tell you about me, for example. Anybody like to eat at the Waffle House? Anybody like to eat at the Waffle House? Let me tell you about me when I eat at the Waffle House. I don't like the pristine, clean Waffle Houses. I already know when I go to a pristine, clean Waffle House, they're going to cook that food and it's going to be like something that you would buy in the supermarket already made in a box. I mean, everything is pristine, clean, the pots, the pans, the stove, the store, all pristine, clean. I already know the food is going to be all right. But when I go to a Waffle House that's older, dirty, got some of them cooks that you know that are questionable back there. Some of them people that done gave a second chance to. Some people trying to get their life together. They outside smoking cigarettes on their break. Boy, that food is about to be off the chain gang, boy. My wife, boy, she get mad because, boy, I go to a Waffle House. I'm like, wait a minute. This Waffle House got some dirt. It's got some grit. This thing ain't too clean. The food is about to be off the chain. Man, they got them pots and pans, man. They got them things broke in. Them folks back there cooking, man, they putting a little bit of oomph in there. They putting some of their own expertise in the seasonings and all that stuff. Man, I'm just telling y'all right now. Shoo. Boy, you ain't ate Waffle House until you eat one of those Waffle Houses in the hood. You ain't ate what? I'm saying all that to say, man, you need a little nastiness sometimes, man. You need some folks who sure enough know how to cook. They ain't just doing everything by the book. And this is where the Cowboys are falling short, I believe, in their defensive, up until this point, their defensive coachings. Man, you got to get some nastiness up in here, man. You got to get some nastiness up in here. And so this is what I'm hoping. This is what I'm hoping in the next coaching search. I mean, in the next candidate. And so this is why, for me, I got to see who it is. Because I'm telling y'all right now, I told y'all 2 weeks ago, I'm just telling y'all, y'all can hate Jonathan Gannon all y'all want to. Y'all can hate Jonathan Gannon all y'all want to. I'm telling y'all right now, Jonathan Gannon he's in the running. And I knew he was in the running because I told y'all from the get-go, Jonathan Gannon, he kind of fits the Cowboys. I mean, he's the kind of pick that I could literally see the Cowboys doing. Now, the guy, Durante Jones, and let's listen to him talk about him a little bit more. But as it applies to Durante Jones, I mean, he comes from what I would consider a nasty place, the Baltimore Ravens. John Harbaugh is a nasty type of coach. He's a nasty type of coach. And so there's been some greediness over there in Baltimore for a while. It just, I mean, I'm sorry, but John Harbaugh to me is somewhat of a victim like Sean McDermott. What do you do when your quarterback wasn't healthy? I think a couple of those playoffs. Your quarterback has made some major turnovers in some of those playoffs. You've had some unfortunate things like missed kicks, drop passes. I mean, you've had some unfortunate things. At the end of the day, it's the players on the field that once you put a good game plan in, and don't get me wrong, I can understand too the pushback of some of the clock management and some of those things, but for the most part, those games have been lost out there on the field. It's been lost out there on the field. So, man, so maybe Durante Jones will bring some of that nastiness. We'll see. First year head coach, maybe he will.
Jonathan Gannon on Tuesday to start the in-person interviews.
These are, and that's the thing, is that if Jim Leonard is part of this process, if they want to wait around and get a chance to interview him or whatever else.
And remember, people think that John Harbaugh could be getting Leonard.
Yes, that could be the direction that it's going. If Leonard is somebody that they're waiting on, then I do think that this might be it in terms of the candidates that they're looking at. It might be those four. Because I don't think they're going to get any new fresh interviews in here in terms of like just a candidate we haven't even talked about yet. And it remains to be seen if they want to call back any of those others that they had virtual interviews yet for a in-person interview.
By the way, the Packers agreed on multi-year extensions with Matt LaFleur and the general manager. The Packers DC, Jeff Hafley, has apparently, according to Tom Pelissero, has emerged as a front-runner for the Miami job.
Now, I want you to understand why Matt LaFleur, I believe, is getting brought back by the Green Bay Packers. And I do believe the Green Bay Packers are going to regret extending Matt LaFleur. There are so many coaching vacancies out there. And it seems to be a shortage of great candidates. And so I just think the Green Bay Packers are saying, we don't want to bring that to the franchise. I really think that's what they're saying. Because if you start with a new head coach, you're almost telling your team in a sense that, well, we're kind of starting over. You know, this is part of, we're probably going to start starting over right here. And so, they said no. They just stuck with Matt LaFleur. I understand what they're doing because there's a lot of openings out there right now. And these teams are panicking because they're all wanting Super Bowls bad now. They're wanting Super Bowls bad, man. Let's see here. Mike T said, it's the player except the D-line. Flus had 10th ranked defense, Colts and Bears. I know. Devin Mills, Brian thinks he can channel Steve Spurrier mindset, and he can't. Yeah, he not Steve Spurrier. Nah, he can't do it. Clifford said, as a true Dallas Cowboy fan, this Jim Leonard, Durante Jones, they're good defense coordinators. Jim Schwartz will be the best candidate for the Dallas Cowboys. Need to bring back 70s nasty defense. Yeah. Carl Scott, Davion said, Carl Scott is the passing guy in Seattle. G, good guy to talk to. I'm just shocked nobody's trying to talk to the. And I'm sure they're probably not talking to him because Seattle is probably going to go to the Super Bowl. But man, I would really be wanting to talk to Jim Schwartz. I'm sorry, not Jim Schwartz. I'd be wanting to talk to him too. I would want to talk to some guys on Seattle staff. They've been really good. Rodney says, G, he said, Matt, that's why Matt is gone. How can he coach like, let me read that. Let's see. Matt should have been ashamed to coach a defense like that. Yeah, he should have never got a defense coordinator job again if he wasn't. I think the reason why they shouldn't have hired him is because Matt Eberflus got people issues. I don't think he has a scheme issue. I think he has people issues. 72 JaVale said, I love that so much, G, what you just said, in saying, yeah. 2P, he said, as long as the stadium is full and the merch is moving, Jerry Jones happy. And this is what gives Jerry comfortability. And this is what Jerry doesn't understand. This is why Kraft removes himself from the process for the most part. Because let's think about this for a second. If you're not the owner / GM, you have less comfortability when you are depending on someone else to get you to the Super Bowl. You have less comfortability. But when you are the one buying the groceries and you won't fire yourself, you have too much comfortability. You're comfortable. Because you actually, as a GM, you GM as somebody who is comfortable rather than somebody who is uncomfortable. Well, I can't get fired. I know I can pick bad teams year after year after year. I can pick bad coaches. I cannot go to the NFC Championship game. I cannot go to the Super Bowl, but I can't be fired. I'm comfortable. Jerry doesn't even realize he's his own worst enemy. Jerry is his own worst enemy. If you really had a sense of urgency, you would put yourself in an uncomfortable situation. Nobody in the family will be the GM anymore. Me and Steven will no longer be GMs. Will McClay gets one more season as the GM. He either puts up or shut up, and after that, we're going to get us a GM. I'm just telling you, Jerry is his own problem. Jerry is his own problem because he makes himself comfortable, which in turn makes most people that he hires comfortable because they say he's the owner and the GM. Jerry has these he has these relationships with people. And when Jerry has a relationship with you, Jerry sometimes will he'll put you in a position maybe you shouldn't be in. Maybe he'll let you stay around longer. We've seen it with players. Jerry gets relationships with players, signs them probably when he shouldn't sign them, signs hurt, injured players, all kinds of things. You only make those moves when you're comfortable. Man, ain't nobody in an uncomfortable situation taking a chance on the doggone Michael Gallup. I wish I would. My job on the line, I'm not hiring Michael Gallup. I'm not extending Michael Gallup. No, ain't no way. Ain't no way. I'll be honest with you. I'm gonna hit this thing on the head, and I'm not saying this in a negative way. If my job is on the line, I probably don't even give Brian Schottenheimer a chance. I'm just telling you. And Brian Schottenheimer may very well get us a Super Bowl. I still say 2026, Cowboys going to make a ferocious run. I think the players will be that good. But I'm just telling you, if my job was on the line, I don't know if I hire Brian Schottenheimer. I don't know if I would have. And the reason why, and it's not even a knock on Brian Schottenheimer, I just wouldn't have thought about Brian Schottenheimer. Not me. I just wouldn't have considered him because I would have been looking for a coach with some skins on the wall that I know that can maybe get me to that chip. I mean, that's just why I'm saying in that mindset. You make different decisions when your job is on the line and you're uncomfortable than when your job is not on the line and you're comfortable. Just imagine yourself in a situation where no matter what you do, you can't get fired. Okay. Okay. I'm just telling you. When you put yourself in a situation of comfortability, man, how you gonna lose? I mean, what makes you do things? It's a different mindset. It's a different mindset when you know that your job is on the line all the time. Not just when it gets crucial, but all the time. It's a whole different mindset. Yeah, 72 Chevelle, he said he like Waffle House. Yeah, I like them, but they can't be too clean, though. I got to have some people in that kitchen, man. I got to have some showed up cooks in there. Hey, Eyeball, you better tell him. He said, I go to the Waffle House by the hood. Better tell him, man, about that Waffle House. Bernard, he's at the Waffle House in the trap. You better tell him. Kevin Howard, what's up? Big Rabowski said, you love the Waffle House and didn't. He said, I think JFK was still president when it opened. Yes, sir. I'm telling you. I'm just telling you, man. Larry Golden, you know what? I'll be honest with you. I don't think Jimmy Johnson is a good consultant anymore. Man, Jimmy is so far removed from football. Jimmy, man, I'm telling you, Jimmy is so far removed from football. I just don't think Jimmy, I thought this the last few years about Jimmy. The Jimmy that coached the Cowboys in the 90s is not the Jimmy that we saw on television the last few years. I mean, I think he tried to channel that in some of the things he would say. Every so often, he'd say some tough guy stuff. But Jimmy, you give me that Jimmy from 90, 91, 92, 93, yeah, bring me that Jimmy. But the Jimmy that we were seeing on Fox, I don't know if I'd want him as a consultant. But some of these players, I would. Some of the players that played for Jerry, I absolutely would be bringing them in. Because I think they're more connected. I just think they're more connected and involved out there because a lot of them are still out there still talking about the Cowboys and doing things that requires them to continuously look at film and look at players and evaluate them, like Troy Aikman. I think Miami did a great thing bringing in Troy Aikman. Troy Aikman, if there is one quality I love about Troy Aikman, I think he was more of a dog than a player. I really do. I think Troy Aikman was more of a dog than a player. Skill-wise, I think you could find other quarterbacks in that era that were better than Troy Aikman. But as a dog, nah, not as a dog. Troy was a dog. Tough, dog, just, man, you can't teach what Troy Aikman has. You can't teach what Troy Aikman has. You just can't teach it. 42, he said, G, Jones comes from Minnesota and Orr is the one from the Ravens. Yeah, Durante. Oh, okay. Sorry, Durante Jones. Thank you for that correction. Yeah, Durante Jones is from Brian Flores. Okay, gotcha. Orr is from the Ravens. I'm sorry. And so, again, the nastiness from Minnesota, I don't consider that to be a Minnesota thing. I consider that to be a Brian Flores thing. And so they think that they're going to be able to channel Brian Flores through Orr. I'm sorry, through Durante Jones. I'm sorry. I almost did it again. Forever DC, what they were hoping I think they were hoping that the new coach come in, or they're hoping that the new coach comes in and maybe he don't want Jim Schwartz. But for what my understanding is, Jim Schwartz is actually interviewing for the job. Connor, the Cowboys fan, said Matt Eberflus should coach preschool flag football. Oh, man. Tatiana, yeah, Jerry's in his own way. It's hard to do what Jerry's trying to do in a comfortable situation. It's hard to do what he's trying to do. You got to put yourself in a situation of uncomfortability by saying, man, you either going to get this team together or you not. I'm going to fire your butt. You put another person in that situation and let them go to work. The 70s Fans Show, he said, that's why Jerry can say any dumb thing and the media hangs on every word all the time. Jerry does some great things, but Jerry does some things that he needs to start questioning his own self on. Jerry has put his team. The team has almost taken on the persona of Jerry Jones. They've almost taken on the persona of Jerry Jones. And Jerry's got to own that. That's why I say I wish Jerry would put himself. I just wish Jerry knew what it felt like to have somebody else responsible for your team's success. I wish he knew what that felt like. Because I think he would like it. Let somebody else be responsible for it. Because then you get to put them on the hook. And then you get to watch them operate under pressure and watch how they operate. Because let's be honest with ourselves. And I just got to be honest with Jerry. And y'all know I love Jerry. But Jerry don't know what it means to be up under pressure. Oh, being up under pressure from the fan base and content creators, that ain't pressure for Jerry Jones. This is why I always laugh at people. Yeah, man, strike on the Cowboys. Don't go to the game. Stop it. For every one of you that don't go to the game, somebody else gonna go to the game. Stop it. Oh, don't buy the old boy the Dallas Cowboys stuff. For everything you don't buy, somebody else gonna buy. And I don't blame people because they love the Dallas Cowboys. A lot of people love the Dallas Cowboys before Jerry came. So they're not gonna do any of those things. And Jerry knows they're not because the Cowboys are worldwide famous. Jerry knows they're not gonna do that. But Jerry should put himself in a situation of, I want to put the pressure on somebody else of putting the team together. But I'm gonna tell you, just knowing Jerry Jones, from what I've seen from the Netflix special, things I've heard the players say about him, and just watching him in our media today, there is something that Jerry hates more than the uncomfortability of losing. But Jerry would hate it more that somebody would win and he doesn't get the credit he deserves. Jerry hates that more than he hates the uncomfortability of losing. Jerry hates that more. Jerry hated, and he admitted it. Jerry hated. Jerry still hates that Jimmy gets so much credit for the 90s Cowboys. I give Jerry credit. I think that none of that happens without Jerry. They both are responsible. But Jerry should have took comfort in, I hired Jimmy. Yeah, I hired Jimmy. I did that. I hired him. I listened to him. I take pride in hiring the right man. And Jimmy deserves whatever credit y'all give him. That wasn't good enough for Jerry. Jerry wanted to be taken as a football mind. And while I do believe Jerry has some football acumen, Jerry don't have the football acumen that he wants. That's the problem with Jerry. Jerry don't have the football acumen that he wants. And so Jerry, man, he's a very prideful man. Jerry is a very prideful man. And as much as I love Jerry, Jerry is in his own way. Now, we're going to see if this Brian Schottenheimer thing is going to pay off. I like the way Brian Schottenheimer thinks. I like Brian for the most part, and I still say Brian would be better if he wasn't the play caller. Brian, to me, is that guy that can really keep the morale up. You know, he can talk and keep players' heads in the game. I think he would even be better at being able to even keep all the coaches' head in the game and keep the coaches pumped up and really orchestrate that. But I really think I think where they're hurting Brian is making him on game day try to be the head coach, but the reality is he's the offensive coordinator on game day, and he can't really coach the team the way that he needs to. And I know other people do it. I just don't think that's Brian Schottenheimer. He just seemed like to me he would be better as a sideline general rather than a head coach calling plays. Ozzy said Jerry don't want a coach with skins on the wall because he can't control a coach with skins on the wall. Well, he brought in Mike McCarthy. Brought in Bill Parcells. But I also think that's where him and Bill Parcells fell apart, Ozzy. Bass said, been listening to you, G. What's going on, Bass? He said, you made some valid statements. He said, think a medical scare is the only thing that would prompt this man to get competitive or it impede him. Lose-lose situation. Yeah. I really wish that Jerry would put himself in a situation of uncomfortability and put the pressure on someone else and let them perform under pressure. Rod Curry, this is the issue. Jerry don't want anybody showing him up. That's why he hasn't hired a general manager and team president. Because Rod Curry, Jerry hated the fact that Jimmy got so much credit. And I give Jimmy some ownership of this too, because Jimmy is an egomaniac. Jimmy Johnson was an egomaniac too. Jimmy didn't want to give Jerry any of the credit, and I do think Jimmy should have gave Jerry some credit because that Herschel Walker trade don't happen without Jerry. And the players, Jerry still had to sign off on. You know, Jimmy still had to explain some things to him. And so, you know, this is the thing about a team. A team doesn't care who does what when they're winning. A team don't have to, when you're a team player, you actually don't have to get the credit for everything. I'm just about, man, if I'm on the team, as long as we're winning, I don't care if I bought the water, I'm a part of the team. And we all should think like that. And egos will destroy. Egos sink ships, man. Egos sink ships. They do. Yeah, Bernard said they got Smith, Wilson, Irvin, and Big Nate. Man, they need to bring in even these guys like James Washington, Bernard. I don't know if you remember James Washington. That dude was a straight-up headhunter. 70s Fans Show said Troy became a perfectionist, I heard. Yeah, I would love for them to bring in these guys, man. Why would you let Miami bring him in and you not bringing him in? Tatiana said, do you think Shotty will be fired if he doesn't perform well next season? I think he will if it's bad. It all depends on where he finishes. Yava said Jimmy gave Belichick advice, so yes, it still works. I mean, man, sometimes you got to get outside of yourself. Bass said Jerry already told us fans he doubled down on it too. He would rather lose his way than win someone else's way. That was a jab at you-know-who, Jerry in his own way because it's his way of control. Yeah, and that's the issue with Jerry. Jerry won't get out of his own way. Bernard, I wouldn't be surprised if Steven said, I don't want to do what Jerry did. I wouldn't be surprised if Steven didn't do all that stuff. I couldn't see Steven after Jerry is gone. I couldn't see Steven going in the locker room after games. I couldn't see Steven doing half the stuff that Jerry is doing. I don't. I couldn't see him doing half the stuff. Yeah, Tatiana, Jerry is the man you want running your business. I mean, the NFL owes Jerry a lot. This is one of the reasons why I love Jerry Jones because, man, Jerry Jones, when it comes to business, Jerry is second to none. Jerry's well calculated and second to none. But he's very prideful because Jerry wants to be Frank Sinatra. He wants to do it his way. All right, let's listen to the rest of Bobby Bell. I'm sorry.
Final decisions, more interviews scheduled. 4 other teams have requested second interviews with Hafley, but it sounds like he's going to get the Dolphins job.
You've got all 4 in the conference title game. All 4 teams are top 10 in scoring defense. This has become a defensive. It's shifting a little. I don't want to say it's a defensive league yet, but it feels like there's less of the QB quarterback coach like work bubble that had been created with coaching opportunities that led to the Zach Taylors of the world, who still has a job. But like Zach Taylor and those type of people started getting all these different jobs that it was like, all right, we're speeding this up a little bit. It does feel like it's starting to shift back towards, hey, defensive coaches matter here.
Choppy, we've got back and forth reports on Aaron Rodgers and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, so there was an initial report that they were done with him. And now there's a report that, well, maybe they are open to a return.
Everyone in the locker room was in love, total unison, that Aaron Rodgers was the man in there.
Once they've all cried together over Mike Tomlin leaving, I'm like, dear God, who's going to lead us to double-digit losses in the playoffs now for the next decade?
And now your boy, Big Mike, is interviewing there.
Yeah, and, I don't know how
McCarthy worked with the Steelers GM Omar Khan in New Orleans in 2000.
Yeah,
long
that's
time
a
ago.
long time.
Seems like a stretch when you're talking about McCarthy, but
that's a long time ago. Look, I don't know if the Rodgers return coupled with this McCarthy thing there's any connection there. Like, hey, maybe they'd be open to it if Mike. I don't know what Mike's relation with Rodgers is now. Anyway,
right.
I also don't see this as a fit for Mike.
I don't
Pittsburgh
see Mike
they
McCarthy
generally
being
go
a fit
younger.
for Pittsburgh.
They don't usually hire older coaches. They generally go with a younger coach. None of the coaches they had, the previous 3, had any experience. Obviously, it's been a long time with those 3. So I don't think they want to hire Mike and have to do this again at max. At max, even if Mike does well and they don't fire, at max he's going to coach another 8 to 10 years. I don't think they want at max. That's at max.
Yeah, that's super max. I was thinking 5.
Maybe. I mean, he's mid-60s. He'll be 70 years old. So, let's say he coaches till he's 70. That's what, 7 years from now? Something like that?
Yeah.
I don't think they want to do this in 7 more years.
He's a fit if this is the McCarthy that got hired in Green Bay 20 years ago. Like, yeah, that guy, like, all right, Pittsburgh, kind of blue collar, going to be hanging around for a while. Yeah, all that fits if we're talking about McCarthy when he was in his mid-40s. That would make sense of a guy that. But, like, all these interviews that they're throwing, they keep interviewing guys who are, like, 38 years old. There's a report that they've requested a second interview with Anthony Weaver from the Dolphins, the defensive coordinator. That feels very much like a hire they would make. Okay, here we go. This is a defensive-minded coach in his mid-40s. There we go. And then you'll hang around for the next 20 years. But, I mean, this would be the first – if they hired somebody who's older than 40, it'd be the first time that they've hired somebody that old in 60 years. They hire young coaches that they want to keep around forever. It's nice that Mike gets the interview. I don't think that Mike is going to be permanent there.
Yeah, the interview is probably
2007 NFC Championship game, the famous Tom Cullen. You can't do anything. So other guys say, I just go sleeveless because you can warm yourself up on the sideline. Von Miller specifically said practicing in cold weather is way more difficult than playing a cold weather game because you have all the heat resources when you're on the sideline. And then when you're running, adrenaline takes over, heat, everything else. But they said that all these players vary how they do things because of the weight that it causes. That was the most common thing they listed in there.
All right, so that was kind of like Bobby Belt talking about the coaching things for the Cowboys. But again, I'm just wondering if the Cowboys have done enough as far as their coaching search. And again, and I'm not going to turn this into the Brian Flores discussion, but where I'm frustrated is when you are going through a process like the Cowboys are going through, you still should be interviewing. Some people you're interviewing even though you know you're not going to hire them, but you want to interview those minds because You want to know what they think about your team, and maybe they can give you some insight on some things that you could do or what you should be looking for in that defensive coordinator, maybe even some personnel moves as far as some players who you should get in the draft. Because I'm telling you right now, if I'm looking at these defensive coordinators, if I'm bringing in Brian Flores, I want to know, how could your system benefit us? How could your system benefit us? I'd want to know, how could we be better? I'd want to know, hey, Brian, so if we hired you and looking at this year's draft, tell me who are the players that you would get in this year's draft. Tell me the players you would get in free agency. I would ask that of Jim Schwartz. I would ask that of Sean McDermott. I would even think about maybe let's try to even get a Zoom meeting. Even if we could get in an hour or two with some of the guys from the Seattle Seahawks, from the Seattle Seahawks staff. I mean, I would really want to do that. I really would. Because even guys who you're not going to hire, Fortune 500 companies do this. They don't interview. Everybody they interview isn't a hire. Some people they interview, they just want to interview because they know, hey, it's going to be probably hard to get this person, but they got a great mind. We've actually already decided, but we still want to talk to these 2 or 3 other people. Why? Because they have great minds, and we want to hear what they have to say. I don't think the Cowboys tap into the resources they have enough. I just don't. Tatiana said other teams were quick to fire coaches this season. I was like, wow, Tatiana. That's the crazy part. There are teams out there. I want y'all to think on this. There are teams out there that would literally, the success that they've had, we would literally kill for that success that those teams have had. Do what? Man, could y'all imagine going to the playoffs? 8 straight years, wild card, divisional, NFC championship games. Man, we would be ecstatic. We would be ecstatic. We can't get past the second round. We can't get past the second round. And let's kind of, Tatiana, I'll use what you just said as a segue. Other teams were quick to fire coaches this season. Well, let's segue over to this.
Here we go.
So these are the coaching vacancies open right now. 2 of them have been filled, so there's been 10 vacancies. Atlanta Falcons job filled. New York Giants, job filled by John Harbaugh. There are still 8 jobs out there. Let's look at them real quick. And the reason why I want to look at this is because this is actually causing a problem for the Cowboys and anybody else too. There is a head coach vacancy problem. And what I mean by there's a head coach vacancy problem is that some teams are going to get robbed of defensive coordinators and even probably some offensive coordinators or people on their staff because of the head coach vacancies. Because people were quick to fire coaches. Now, when you look at Mike McDaniel should have been fired. I believe the Miami Dolphins right now would be contenders had they kept Brian Flores. I think they just would have kept going up. But the Miami Dolphins, they have a coaching job, a coaching opening. And I just don't know who in the world, Sean McDermott may want to go out there and coach in the sun. I think the Miami Dolphins may try to get Sean McDermott. I'm pretty sure they're happy. Arizona Cardinals, I have no clue. I absolutely have no clue with the Arizona Cardinals. They need a total blow up. And I mean, even the quarterback. Cleveland Browns. I'm hearing Jim Schwartz, for whatever, they're saying Jim Schwartz may be a candidate. But I also saw what somebody was saying that Sean McDermott would be a great candidate for the Cleveland Browns. And so maybe Sean McDermott may want to stay in the AFC. You know, Miami Dolphins, Cleveland Browns, stay over there and continue to battle the Buffalo Bills. Pittsburgh Steelers. I think Sean McDermott might be a good fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if I was him, I'd probably be heading on out over there to Miami. Tennessee Titans. I mean, they need a head coach. Las Vegas Raiders. They need a head coach. Buffalo Bills, of course, and then the Baltimore Ravens. All these teams need coaches. And so what's happening with these teams all needing coaches, this is causing a problem for teams that might be looking for those top-tier coordinators. Well, right now, because, man, everybody is needing head coaches, some of those top-tier candidates, they're gone. Or they're going to be gone. I do believe Brian Flores is going to get a coaching position. I wouldn't be surprised if Jim Schwartz is going to get a head coaching position. So that'd be Flores head coaching, Jim Schwartz head coaching. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't understand. And one thing I wish they would stop doing is recycling all these doggone coaches. Because I'm sorry, the way Kevin Stefanski did Shedeur Sanders, he doesn't deserve to be a head coach in this league anymore. He doesn't deserve to be a head coach. I'd never. And I don't know what's going through the mind of the Atlanta Falcons. I would never bring him in. The one thing about Kevin Stefanski, he's had some success. But Kevin Stefanski runs through quarterbacks. Runs through quarterbacks. And I don't think all these quarterbacks he run through are bad. I think he's the one that's bad, but people don't want to admit it. Bass, Shotty is the reason the Jones are operating different. Yes, and you want to know why? Because Brian Schottenheimer is using his superpower on the Joneses, his gift of gab. Yeah, he's one of the reasons why they've been doing it. He's using his superpower, and I hope it pays off. I'm still riding with Shotty. I hope it pays off. But I'm very concerned about this defensive coordinator thing because it's going to make or break the Cowboys. Bass said he has to get it done with this caliber of offense. That's like malpractice to have that much talent. Man, he's got the most talented offense in the league, if you ask me. He's got the most talented offense in the league. Big Amish, yeah. I'd go outside the box too. Or in Leonard, the DC for the Miami Hurricanes is my wild card. I still think they need to do a little bit more looking. What would another week hurt? I would still wait about one more week. Rombowski said if McCarthy was willing to give up play calling duties and hire younger, sharper OC and DC, then he could have some success in Pitt. See, Big Rombowski, but you just said the key issue. He don't want to give up play calling duties. Mike McCarthy don't want to be a sideline coach. He should be. Rodney Evans said Steven is worse than Jerry. My uncle has said that for years. Yeah, JCT Slice in the building. He said, gee, I saw your Josh Allen video about him choking. People think you were speaking with bias because you like Dak Prescott. Yeah, it's okay for him to think that. Two things can be true. I like Dak Prescott, but Josh Allen is a choker. And he got Sean McDermott fired. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. He got that man fired. Sebastian said, what is Cowboys defense? It's 4-3. He says 3-4-4-3 zone, maybe Tampa 2 blitz heavy, multiple front covers 3. That's what they need to know. It's 4-3 as of now. Which I still think the Cowboys could run a 3-4 if they wanted to. I think Jadeveon Clowney and Donovan Ezeraku are both good enough to run that 3-4. But I think the Cowboys are going to stick with that 4-3 because I think they want that edge rusher. I don't think they want that hybrid guy. I don't think they want that hybrid guy out there anymore. I think they want a true defensive end. We're going to see how it's going to go. Xavier Rivera, he said, I think Leonard would be good for the Cowboys. We're going to see. Problem is, I just don't know if they're gonna. I just don't know if they're gonna get him. I mean, the further Denver goes, I mean, Leonard becomes probably interesting to these other teams too. He's going to become interesting for other teams too. I'm not sure if John Harbaugh is interested in him, but because I haven't heard that from anybody but the media. I haven't heard that from anybody else. 40 Bills Bait fan. Appreciate you. $9.99 super chat. He said, I wasn't lying about the candidates for the second interview. Just want out toe credit for breaking that to you before hearing elsewhere. Yeah, he said, I don't like them, but it is what it is and it will be. Yeah. Yeah, I think you broke that a few days ago. JTX made breaking news. Breaking news by JTX made. Let's see. He said that the Dolphins have hired a head coach. JTX Made said the Dolphins have hired the Packers defensive coordinator. And it looks like the Finsider is reporting it. The Finsider. Dolphin statements on new head coach Jeff Hafley. And I told y'all this is the issue. This is one of the issues that I think that's going to hurt the Cowboys. Even though the Cowboys, I think, have it narrowed down to who they want. But these teams needing head coaches, they're going to rob some of these teams of their coordinators. And so coordinators are going to become even more of a commodity. And so this is the very thing that may make the Cowboys get into a rush. And if they want Durante Jones, they're probably going to go ahead and go with Durante Jones. And I'm telling y'all now, prepare yourselves. I hope this doesn't happen. Y'all better prepare yourself for Jonathan Gannon. Y'all better prepare yourselves. Y'all better prepare yourselves. Says the Miami Dolphins have announced the hiring of Jeff Hafley as the team's new head coach. Hafley joins the defense after 2 seasons as the Green Bay Packers defensive coordinator and replaces Mike McDaniel, who was fired after 4 seasons with the team. Wow. Okay. Appreciate you, JTX Made. So now we're down to 7 jobs. Man, let me tell you something. This is another reason why. Jerry needs to have a sense of urgency. And I do think Jerry has a sense of urgency. Jerry needs to get this. He needs to get the best players he can get, free agency in the draft. They need to hit on this defensive coordinator. 2026 is going to be an opportune time for the Cowboys to get to the Super Bowl. The NFC, for the most part, this is what you're looking at in the NFC. Seattle Seahawks and the Los Angeles Rams. The Cowboys should be able to get through everybody else. It's a great time. It's a great time, Jerry. Jerry's got to strike while the iron is hot. What's up, Chanel? Good to see you in here. Jerry's got to strike while the iron is hot, man. Jerry has to strike while the iron is hot. It's a great time to go to the Super Bowl. Seattle picked a great year to go to the Super Bowl. Y'all might not remember this, but I told y'all at the beginning of this season, great players are not the only thing you need to go to the Super Bowl. What did I tell y'all? It's a battle of attrition. You need talent. You need health. Are you ready for the next one? And you need luck. You need luck. You need luck. Where you may stay healthy, you need teams, you need other teams to be unhealthy. You need other players on those teams to get hurt. Sometimes you're going to need some of those calls, like the Denver Broncos got, even though I still say it was an interception. But it's a very questionable call in the eyes of a lot of people. But guess what? You need those types of things going your way to go to Super Bowls, because Patrick Mahomes has been getting those things for years. Questionable calls, referee help, staying healthy. I mean, you need talent, attrition, and luck. And the Seattle Seahawks have actually got all of that this year too. They are a great team. They've also got some luck on their side. They're lucky this year that teams like the Dallas Cowboys, the Philadelphia Eagles, they're lucky this year. Those teams who should be better were not better this year. And so really the Seattle Seahawks, the only game that can really stop them is the Los Angeles Rams. And the issue is you don't know you don't know who you're going to get with the Rams. You don't. You don't. You don't know who you're getting. Chanel said there's no basis in what G stated. The NFL has always tried to make Josh Allen the golden boy. Yeah, that's one of my arguments that I'm making, though. That's one of the arguments that I'm making about Josh Allen, if you know in that video. That's why Sean McDermott got fired. They had to blame somebody. They couldn't blame Josh Allen, even though Josh Allen is the reason. Josh Allen is the reason why Sean McDermott is fired. Bottom line. Josh Allen has underachieved year after year after year after year. When you see the teams that this dude has actually beaten, it is absolutely insane. It's insane when you look at the teams that he's beaten. People be killing Dak Prescott, but go back and look at Josh Allen. Josh Allen hasn't beat anybody noteworthy in the playoffs at home. Hasn't beat anybody noteworthy. But again, Rumbowski said, I read from an NFL scout on X, the Hafley hiring now means that Green Bay will be looking at Leonard for their new DC, as there is a relationship between LaFleur and him. Interesting. Interesting. Man, I tell you this. Boy, you better, if you want to get into head coaching in this league, man, you better learn how to be, you better learn how to befriend certain people. Because they play the buddy system in this thing. There are some coaches out there that probably should be getting chances that are not going to get chances because, it is how it is, even in the business world. It's who you know. It's who you know. Azteca, I am shocked at Raheem Morris. I haven't seen Raheem Morris showing up on a lot of these head coaching things. I don't understand it. I don't understand the Raheem Morris thing. Chanel said, G, you keep saying that. I continue to tell you that Gannon will not become the Cowboys DC. Well, I'm going to tell you this, Chanel. Mark my words. And I'm not saying he's going to become the DC. Mark my words. After the Cowboys interview Gannon, okay, you watch what I tell you. After the Cowboys interview Gannon, watch how people start talking about Gannon as the next Cowboys defensive coordinator. You watch what I tell you. Bad said, I'm going to be crushed if they hire Gannon. I'm telling y'all right now, man, you just prepare yourselves for whoever it could be. I'm at the point right now, I really don't know. I really don't know. This is another reason why I can't really get excited about this whole defense coordinator search. I just don't have a clue. I don't have a clue about Devontae Jones. I don't have a clue about Jim Leonard, because now Jim Leonard his team continues to win. I don't know if the Cowboys are going to have the patience, but we're about to see if it is, if he's who the Cowboys really want. But now Matt LaFleur has probably entered into the discussion. The Giants might have already been in the discussion of wanting him too. We're going to see. And I'm telling you, this head coaching vacancy is going to cause a ripple effect. Because just because the Cowboys, let's just say the Cowboys pick Durante Jones, that don't mean Durante Jones is going to pick the Cowboys. That don't mean Durante Jones is going to pick the Cowboys. Y'all tell me right now. Let's just say for the sake of argument, you're Durante Jones. You have a choice to go to the Dallas Cowboys or the Green Bay Packers. Who are you going to? Who are you going to? I mean, this is something else that we're battling. We're battling that there are other teams out there that may absolutely be more attractive to these DCs than they are to the Cowboys. Man, it's a great time to be a good, it's a great time. It is a great time to be a good defensive coordinator or be a part of a team that has a good defensive coordinator. It's a great time. Because if your defense, if the team that you're on, if your defense coordinator gets promoted to a head coach, then you may actually get promoted to the DC on that team. Or if another team picks DC gets poached, you also become a candidate for that DC job. So here's the thing that people probably didn't understand. These candidates will have options. All of them. They're going to have options, especially the young ones. The young, fresh-minded ones, the ones who are coming from the Brian Floreses, coming from the Jim Swartz, coming from those, even if they start looking at the Seattle Seahawks. I mean, I'm surprised people haven't started talking about the Houston Texans staff yet. I'm still shocked. But the head coaching vacancy problem is going to cause a ripple effect. And so now the issue becomes, will the candidates the Cowboys have? Well, will they have options? Will they have options? That becomes the issue. Will they have options? We are battling this head coaching vacancy problem now. And so I don't know, maybe this will make the Cowboys be even more urgent and say, okay, we've narrowed it down, so we got to pick somebody. Because you think about it, and this is why I'm still surprised they haven't at least brought in Raheem Morris, because I just haven't heard his name a lot. I haven't heard his name a lot. Yeah, you know what, Bess? I heard this today too. That Gannon was an Eberflus disciple. But I'll tell you this, man, there are other teams out there that they are going to need defensive coordinators. So my question starts to become, the guys that the Cowboys have narrowed it down to, do they jump at the Cowboys job? Or do they now start saying, hold on a second, it's about to be some jobs out here. It's about to be some jobs out here. Wouldn't be surprised if I wouldn't be surprised if somebody from the Rams staff, once they win, once they lose, I wouldn't be surprised if people from the Rams staff, people from the Seahawks staff, we got the Houston Texans out now. Wouldn't be surprised from their staff. Buffalo Bills, there's going to be some fallout from their staff. I would not be surprised as teams start to get their head coaches from some of these other teams. There's going to be a demand for coordinators. And in particular, I believe defensive coordinators, because the trend right now is that the defenses are winning or getting these teams to the championship. So this head coaching vacancy is going to be a problem. So it makes me wonder if the Cowboys, if they want Durante Jones, and if they don't have the patience, because I'm telling you, I got a strange feeling that if it's true, if what Rombowski is reporting is true, if Matt LaFleur enters the discussion on Leonard. I would not be surprised if Leonard chooses Green Bay over Dallas. I wouldn't be surprised if he chose Green Bay over Dallas. And the thing that sticks out of my head, Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons and some of those defensive pieces they have over there. Man, it would be Big Amish, he said, young and hungry, want to conquer the world. Yeah. Chanel, you don't get no argument from me on that standpoint. You couldn't get me not to come to Dallas if I was looking for a coaching job. Texas, no state tax, cost of living, just the area in general. Texas has to be one of the top states to live in the United States. You already know where I stand with that. But when it comes to these coaches, you never know what they're thinking. You never know what they're thinking. I still say the Dallas Cowboys is the biggest stage. If you can make this successful, you're going to write your own ticket. But, man, this is a buddy system, too. This is an absolute buddy system. So, again, these head coaching vacancies are going to cause problems because once all these teams fill these head coaching positions, man, there are going to be doggone coordinator jobs open everywhere. Everywhere. And everybody's going to be looking for the top new DC coming from some of these staffs of these teams that have been good. Denver, I'm sure. Minnesota Vikings, Brian Flores, I'm sure. Houston Texans, I'm shocked, and I think we'll start hearing some names. Green Bay Packers, I'm not surprised. I won't even be surprised. If the Atlanta Falcons, if they can't get Ulbrich, maybe they'll start trying to poach some of the people off of his squad. This head coaching vacancy is going to cause a problem. It really is. And I mean, you think about it. Even as much as we hate Jonathan Gannon, man, Jonathan Gannon going to have options. Gannon is going to have options. He absolutely is. And also, I just wonder when you start talking about money, where will the Joneses be with the money on these coaches? Because right now there is going to be a demand. There is going to be a demand. And I'm wondering now if this is going to put the Cowboys into urgency mode. We're going to see. Big Amish said, gee, you're right about Houston. Has a true fearsome defense. That DC needs some attention. Big Amish, I think it's the best defense not in the playoffs. CJ Stroud sold them, man. I can understand he had some injuries, but what I can't get with is those turnovers. Those were boneheaded turnovers. Rodney said if Gannon becomes a new DC, Shotty will be looking for a new head coach. 72 Javale said we might not have a DC before the draft comes. Hey, 72, with what's going on right now, if the Cowboys have honed in, I think they're going to make a decision. If they've honed in, they're going to make a decision. Because as these teams lose, and with these head coaching jobs, some of these teams are waiting to get some interviews in with those teams. I mean, with those some of the people from those staffs. They want them. Yeah, Renan said, yes, G, Seahawks, Patriots, and Broncos. Defensive coordinators will be head coaches somewhere. Yeah, it's a great time to be Vance Joseph. It's a great time. If Vance Joseph ever wanted a second shot, here it is. And I'm telling you right now, if the Denver Broncos beat the if the Denver Broncos beat the New England Patriots, and the only way I think they beat them is that their defense is about to have a historical performance. If they beat the New England Patriots, it's going to be because of the defense, and Vance Joseph is going to get one of these head coaching jobs. There's no doubt about it. There's no doubt about it. Vance will get a coaching job. We can book it. If they beat the Patriots, book it. Vance Joseph is probably going to have his pick. Rod Curry, Cowboys should bring in Brian Flores and hire him as the DC and assistant head coach to replace Shotty in a few years. And Rod Curry, I'm going to tell you what I think is going on with Brian Flores. I think there are very few teams that are willing to take a chance on Brian Flores because of the lawsuit. And I think that's why he's not going to get a chance. I do. I think that's why he's not going to get a chance with some teams. But I still say Brian Flores will probably be a head coach. Chanel said Raheem Morris' defensive scheme transitions to an odd front, 5-man front defense, emphasizing cover 3 from a too-high safety shell adopted from Brandon Staley to prevent deep plays. He might be what they're looking for. Then. Bass said we have talent, but Gannon ain't the man to lead them. Have we seen his coaching meetings? Man, I did, Bass. Gannon is definitely not the locker room guy. I saw it. Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about that. Leonard's from Wisconsin and went to Wisconsin. Not surprising at all if he goes to Green Bay. Ooh, boy, you just made a point, D-Part. I did not think about that. That's a great point. Yeah, Bad said, wouldn't shock me if Jerry flopped and flunk on Jim. I think the previous comment from D Park though may be the inside. Man, this is a buddy system. It's a buddy system. So it's not going to surprise me. Because if you are Jim Leonard, you go to Green Bay, they got players. You could be fast-tracked to the head coaching realm. You really could. Oh, Edward Dozier. Okay, he makes a point. He said because of the Senior Bowl and the East-West Shrine Bowl, it would be stupid to let this DC search keep going. Okay. I think the Cowboys are probably going to make their decision this week. If they want Durante Jones, that's probably who they're going to get. Because the one thing I know about the Cowboys, they use the media a lot. And when the media starts coming out singing the praises of somebody, I'm listening because I think they're getting that from somebody. Rumbowski said, Brian Flores is simply not giving Jerry and company his time of day, and I don't blame him for it. He's probably not. Yeah. Yeah, he's probably not. I'm with you, Lonnie. I said this last week. I'm with you. There's no way if the Cowboys' job was open, I wouldn't take it. Because I know if you win in Dallas, you can write your own ticket. You can write your own ticket. All right, so again, I'm going to transition on that. Head coaching vacancy. That's a problem. I want to see how this continues to turn out. Roderick said, like the buddy system in Alabama. I'm telling you, man. It is what it is, but it's a buddy system. Bass said, and Leonard is the best talent they've had for interview only. Now, if they called in Flores Schwartz, that's literally the best. But Stephen Jones hyperventilates thinking about the money he's going to have to pay those coaches. Yeah, they're going to have to pay him. Yeah, you're going to have to pay. You're definitely going to have to pay him. All right, I got some more insight here. Let's see here. Yeah, Davion Wallace says Senior Bowl next week, so it's wrapped up by then. Book it. Yeah. Daryl Schapp, he says, I think Durante is going to be the defensive coordinator because Jim Leonard is going to end up with the Giants. Okay. All right, let's transition. And I'm not going to make this into a long segment.
Yes! Here we go!
But I have a question for Cowboy fans. I have a question. If you could go back now, after what you've seen in the playoffs this year, if you could go back and do it all over again, would you hire Brian Schottenheimer? If you could do it all over again, would you hire Brian Schottenheimer? Let me show you something. So I was looking at this the other day. I started looking at this today, Monday. I started looking at this on Saturday. I thought it was very interesting because I'm looking at the playoffs this year, and I want to show you the coaches, the head coaches that were hired. So the head coaches that were hired in 2024. Brian Callahan, Tennessee Titans, he fired. David Canales, Carolina Panthers. They went to the playoffs first year. Jim Harbaugh went to the Chargers. Playoffs 2 years in a row. Mike McDonald to the Seattle Seahawks. You want to talk about hindsight is 2020. I don't think anybody thought Mike McDonald from the Ravens. This dude is probably about to go to the Super Bowl. Mike McDonald. Gerard Mayo, no longer there. Raheem Morris, no longer there. Antonio Pierce, no longer there. Dan Quinn. Dan Quinn goes to the NFC Championship game in his first season. So of those coaches hired last year, Dave Canales, I believe you can say that was a success. Jim Harbaugh is Jim Harbaugh. He's going to have success. But he's not going to have the success that he thought he was going to have because Justin Herbert, I'm telling you, Justin Herbert ain't what they said he is. Mike McDonald, he's the one I got circled on this. And this is why I say the Mike McDonald hire, it's incredible. I mean, it's incredible when you think about it. And the thing that I like about Mike McDonald, he's got his own identity. Mike McDonald has got his own identity. Mike McDonald has Seattle looking like the old Legion of Boom. I mean, Mike McDonald in 1 year, y'all, is in the NFC Championship game. Incredible. Incredible. Yeah, I'm on 2024. Did I say 2025, Rumbowski? Because I'm actually on 2024. I'm looking at the coaches that were hired in 2024. Who would have thought Mike McDonald being hired last year would be in the NFC Championship game? Incredible. Incredible. I mean, I'm sorry. The coach of the year discussion this year is going to be so hard. It's going to be so hard. Mike McDonald in one season, coaches in 2024, in 2025 NFC Championship game. 2 seasons. 2 seasons. And so my question becomes, just looking back, would you do it again? Now, this is just 2024. We haven't even got to 2025. I wanted to go back to 2024 because I want to make sure that we understand that there were 3 successful coaches of the 8. I think there was 8 hired. There were 3 successful. Dave Canales, Jim Harbaugh, Mike McDonald. Of those, all of them went to the playoffs. So let's look at 2025. 2025 is even more incredible. 2025. Let's look at 2025. $2025 coaches. And it looks like, okay, they might be getting. All right, let me go back. I already had this looked up. They've already went to. Hold on. Because when you look at the head coaches picked for the 2025 season, watch this. This is why I'm asking this question. Look at this crop of coaches. Not just 2024. Let's look at 2025. Look at this crop of coaches. Ben Johnson, Mike Vrabel, Kellen Moore, Aaron Glenn, Liam Cohen, Pete Carroll, Brian Schottenheimer. Looking back, even when we hired Brian, would you take Brian Schottenheimer over Ben Johnson based on what you've seen? Would you hire Brian Schottenheimer over Mike Vrabel based on what you've seen? Would you hire Brian Schottenheimer over Kellen Moore based on what you've seen? Aaron Glenn, Liam Cohen. Liam Cohen is not getting enough credit. Liam Cohen seems to be a great coach. Got them Jaguars, man. Trevor Lawrence sold them. Trevor Lawrence had them exactly where they wanted them. The Jaguars probably should have been playing last week, but Trevor Lawrence sold them. So knowing what you know now, and I want to go back to 2024 because I'm just saying Mike McDonald is incredible this year. But knowing what you know right now, based on what was available when we hired Brian Schottenheimer, would you do it again? And I'm saying this because these coaches were available. Jerry could have got these coaches. But I know why Jerry didn't pick these coaches. Because there are two coaches in particular on this list that I know that would not have put up with Matt Eberflus no matter what Jerry would have said. Ben Johnson would not have put up with Matt Eberflus. Wouldn't have done it. Mike Vrabel would not have put up with Matt Eberflus. Wouldn't have done it. Would not, I don't care who hired him. They would not have put up with that nonsense. Now, Brian wants to win bad. And I give Brian Schottenheimer a lot of credit. Brian is working within the framework that he knows that he's in. And so he gets a lot of hands-on and he tries to, he gets in there and he tries to do everything that he can. But at the end of the day, you can only do that for so long. Man, you gotta be the type of person when somebody hires you, you gotta be willing to be fired. I've told people this for years. Let me tell you how I live my life when I have a job. I walk into my job every single day prepared to be fired. I want y'all to let that sink in. And I tell people, live your life like this. Every day you go into your job, be prepared to be fired. Because when your mindset is like that, you're always going to do what's right. You're always going to do what's right. And you're not going to be able to be controlled. See, sometimes you have to put people on notice. You have to put people on notice. And when you put people on notice like that, they'll let you do your job. Man, I'm telling you, respect is earned. A lot of people want respect because of their position. They want respect because of their position. They want respect because of the title. They want respect for all kinds of reasons. No, I'm going to earn respect. And I'm telling you, when you hire me, I'm going to do what you hired me for. Don't you ask me to do anything less. Don't ask me to do anything less than what you hired me for. I keep people on notice. And I don't say this just to myself. My wife will tell you. I tell people this stuff out loud. I'm telling you. That's how you got to be. And Ben Johnson strikes me as that kind of coach. Fire me. Fire me. Because I'm coming in here to do my job. Fire me. I think that's why Jerry didn't hire Mike Vrabel. I think that's why he didn't hire Ben Johnson. I don't know about the other 5 or the other 4 because Brian was one of them. I don't know about the other 4. But I just wonder if you could, because somebody makes a great point. If I was Jerry, I would. Yeah, because Jerry would do that. Jerry would do that. Roderick B., he said, yeah, if I was Jerry, I would. Yeah. See, I let people know when they hire me. I'm not a continuity hire. I let people know this. I'm not a continuity hire. If you want the same old, I'm probably not your guy. I'm not your guy. If you want continuity, you want the same old, you don't want anybody to be pushed, and you don't want, and if you can't deal with people complaining, I'm not your guy. I'm not the guy for you. But if you want to be successful, I'm your guy. Let me do my job. That's just how I live. I don't know any other way to do it. I don't know any other way to do it. And I wouldn't go. I'm sorry. I got to let people know up front. And I go into a job, and I'm prepared to be fired every single Sunday. I'm prepared to be fired. Because I'm not going to hold back on what the truth is in helping people. I'm not going to hold back on those things that help people to be better and to help us be successful. I'm just not holding back on those things. Rumbowski said it's easy to say no, G, but Johnson had no interest in Dallas. Kraft hired Vrabel fast, and Cohen wasn't even on Jerry and Stevens' radar. Now, let's go back. Ben Johnson. Ben Johnson didn't tell the Cowboys no. But what Ben Johnson did tell the Cowboys is what I say that I tell people. Because Ben Johnson basically put the Cowboys on notice. And people say, oh, he wasn't talking about the Cowboys. He was talking about the Cowboys. He wanted control, and he wanted the front office to take responsibility for the failures of the team. And the Cowboys said no. Not to mention he was going to want $10+ million. I mean, he basically told them no without saying no. He basically told them no without saying no. But I understand what Brian is doing. Brian is working within a framework, and I applaud him for working within that framework. And Brian is trying to he's getting respect and influence from the Cowboys from the things that he's saying and some of the things that he's implemented. But I think he's going to find out very quickly. Because Jerry is at a stage in his age that Jerry ain't going to have the patience that he had with Jason Garrett and give him 5 and 10 and 15 years. No, I think that he's tied to Dak Prescott. I believe Brian Schottenheimer is tied to Dak Prescott. And Jerry believes that Dak Prescott is more than talented enough to get the Dallas Cowboys a Super Bowl. Jerry ain't going to put up with no 4 and 5 years of Brian Schottenheimer and they don't get a Super Bowl. I'm telling y'all right now, Jerry's expecting a Super Bowl. I am too. I'm expecting a Super Bowl from Brian Schottenheimer in 2026. They are too talented offensively not to do it. And I believe that Jerry Jones, out of desperation, Jerry's been moving different this entire time since he hired Brian Schottenheimer. So we're going to see with this defensive coordinator hire, and then we're going to see with the players that they go get in the draft and free agency. We're going to see how serious Jerry is. And I'm telling you now, I'm going to give Jerry Jones the benefit of this doubt. No, I think Jerry is serious. Because I think Jerry don't feel like he's got enough time. I mean, I don't think he feels like he has a lot of time left. And I also think Jerry wants to walk away from this thing. I think Jerry's ready to walk away. He just wants to walk away a winner. Jerry wants to walk away into the sunset saying, I did it my way, like Frank Sinatra. He want to walk away singing that. Cowboys get a Super Bowl in 2026. Jerry Jones, I promise y'all, watch what I tell you. I'll be shocked if Jerry don't walk away. And if it's not in 2026, he'll walk away the following season if they don't get the repeat. But Jerry is ready to walk away from this thing. I give Jerry up until Dak Prescott's contract because I'm telling you, I think Jerry's ready to walk away from this thing. And he's expecting a Super Bowl from Brian Schottenheimer. And I'm going to tell you right now, I hope that Brian Schottenheimer is the next Mike Macdonald. What Mike Macdonald, guys, has pulled off is incredible. What Mike Macdonald has pulled off is incredible. I really hope that Brian Schottenheimer is the next Mike Macdonald as it applies to first year, okay, got my feet up under me. Second year, Super Bowl. And we'll see if he goes to the Super Bowl because, again, when you're talking about the Los Angeles Rams, you don't know what you're getting.
Yes! Here we go!
I mean, man, them dudes, I mean, these dudes are juggling high. You don't know what you're getting with them. You don't know what you're getting with the Rams. Rams in one quarter look like nobody can beat them. In another quarter, they look like anybody can beat them. 1 minute they playing perfect. Next minute they turning the ball over. So you don't know what you're going to get. You don't know what you're going to get with the Dallas. I mean, you don't know what you're going to get with the Rams. But I'll tell you this, you know what you're going to get with the Seattle Seahawks. And that's one of the reasons why I think the Seattle Seahawks are going to beat the Rams. The Seattle Seahawks are a very, very consistent team. A very, very consistent team. Man, they are dogs game in and game out. I like what they have done over there in Seattle. And I'm going to make a segue on that because I want to look at these Dallas Cowboys again. Ex-Dallas Cowboy players in the playoffs. This thing is crazy in the grand scheme of things, y'all. This is crazy in the grand scheme of things. And it really got my spidey senses tingling as I think about this. These ex-Cowboys, I want y'all to look at this. These ex-Cowboys again in the playoffs. We got the Buffalo Bills. I mean, I didn't even realize they had Connor McGovern. But, I mean, think about it. Man, Brandon Cooks, major contributor. Brandon Cooks, major contributor for the Buffalo Bills in the playoffs. Major contributor. And I think there's a theme here. Y'all tell me if I'm wrong. I think there's a theme here. Some of these players that are in the playoffs for other teams and are contributing in a big way. It makes me think that the Cowboys didn't use these players well. That when these players were here, it wasn't so much that those players were not good. But those players, we didn't use them well. And Brandon Cooks, I believe, is one of those players we didn't use well. I didn't realize that Brandon Cooks was 5'9" or whatever he is. He looks 5'9" to me. I didn't realize Brandon Cooks was so short because I'd heard his name before in a lot of circles, people would talk about him. But I didn't really know that he was that short. But nevertheless, even though Brandon Cooks is a short wide receiver, the Cowboys were using him on comeback routes, shallow crosses. I mean, they were using Brandon Cooks like he was some clutch, like he was some short yardage, third down, third wide receiver. Brandon Cooks, when you look at his history on the other teams he's played on, Brandon Cooks has always been a deep threat because he's got a lot of speed. Brandon Cooks. We didn't use Brandon Cooks right. Major contributor for the Buffalo Bills down the stretch. I just wonder what they'd have been had they had him the whole season. Brandon Cooks, major contributor. Major contributor. Carolina Panthers. I'm sorry. Somebody got to tell the truth. Rico Dowdle was a travesty. Not retaining Rico Dowdle is a travesty. I'm going to tell y'all right now, so people not going to like this. I like Javonte Williams. But from what I saw from Rico Dowdle, I would have chose Rico Dowdle over Javonte Williams. I would have. I'd have chose Rico Dowdle. I was beating the table last year for Rico Dowdle. I didn't see no reason why Rico Dowdle shouldn't have been starting from the beginning of the season. Rico Dowdle is a more versatile running back than Javonte Williams. He's a more versatile running back. I would even dare say the Cowboys should have kept Rico Dowdle and still got Javonte Williams. Because Rico Dowdle and Javonte Williams together would have been insane. Would have been insane to have both of them together. Because Rico, catch out of the backfield, play in the screen game, can run the sweeps, power run game, got the moves between the tackles, can go to the outside. Rico Dowdle has proven now for the last 2 seasons, Rico Dowdle is the real deal. Rico Dowdle is the real deal. I'd have kept Rico Dowdle, and even if I didn't get Javonte Williams, I think the Cowboys would have been great with Rico Dowdle. But if I could, I would have kept Rico Dowdle and still got Javonte Williams. Because again, both of them together as a 1-2 punch, oh, wow. Wow. They'd have been incredible. They would have been incredible. And I'm wondering if the Cowboys are going to keep, I'm wondering if the Carolina Panthers are going to keep Rico Dowdle because they also have a very good number 1 running back. And I'm not sure if he's very comfortable with Rico being there because Rico is pushing him. Rico pushing him hard because, it could be argued that he probably should have been the number 1 back the entire season, Rico Dowdle. And if Rico Dowdle was to hit the streets and the Cowboys could get Rico Dowdle back in Dallas for a couple of $1 million for a season, man, I'm sorry. If I was Cowboys, man, I'd bring back Rico Dowdle. I'm serious. I'd bring back Rico Dowdle. Rico is a monster of a running back, man. And that's why I say when I look at these players, man, when I look at these players that are in the playoffs, and there are a bunch of them this year, they contributed. They contributed major on the teams. Man, the Cowboys wrote Nahshon Wright off. Shoot, Nahshon Wright balled with the Chicago Bears. He balled. There's no doubt about it, man. Nahshon Wright played well. And I'm very interested to see if Sean Payton next year will get Deuce Vaughn going. He's on the practice squad for the Denver Broncos. I do think Deuce Vaughn's problem is, you got to be a special type of coach to be able to use a Deuce Vaughn because of his height. But, man, when I look at these players that are in the playoffs right now, Rico Dowdle, Brandon Cooks, Nahshon Wright, those 3 in particular, man, they are good, man. They are really, really, really good. Rodney said, don't be surprised if Seattle don't make it. I won't because, again, when you're talking about the Los Angeles Rams, you don't know what you're going to get. If the Rams come to play, they'll beat them. Because I think the Rams got cheated out of the last game they played them over the last few weeks. So if the Rams come and play, they'll beat them. But I won't be surprised if they lose either, because you just don't know what you're getting with the Rams. Bass said he would have kept Rico and Javonte. Yeah. Yeah. Roderick, yeah. Man, Williams is more of a downhill runner. Rico Dowdle is that all-around runner, and he would have been a great changeup. I mean, at the very least, they should have kept both of them. But the Cowboys should have kept Rico Dowdle. And I think the Cowboys would have been fine if they'd only had Rico Dowdle. But Rico and Javonte, shoot, boy. Big Amish, he said, what does that tell you about Shotty, who was here? He saw Rico Dowdle and let him walk. Yep. I'm telling you, and I'm still blaming Shotty for Jaden Blue. I do. I am. Andy Jones, he said, if Denver wins this weekend, I think Dallas will go ahead and hire Devontae Jones. I think you're right. Because the longer they wait, and with these head coaching jobs available, it's going to be a problem for them. Rod Curry said, gee, you're saying the same thing I've said about the Cowboys not using and building around their top players. Rico Dowdle was a tremendous mistake letting him go, as well as not signing Michael Parsons early. And Rod Curry, let me say this part. I don't have as much of a problem with them trading Michael Parsons, Rod Curry. It's when they traded him I have a problem with. And I'm going to add some more to your Michael Parsons comment in just a moment when I get to these next few players. Last of my kind, he said Michael would have taken up $46 million. Yeah. I wasn't up for paying Michael Parsons that kind of money. But again, I don't have a problem with them trading Michael. It's when they traded him. That's the problem I have with the Michael Parsons issue. When they traded him. Larry said, gee, explain to me how we're going to do any better next year if we have the same offensive play caller. Every team in the book knows what we're going to do next, because you got Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and George Pickens. And they even make okay plays look like they're super plays. I told y'all already, Brian Schottenheimer's living off Dak Prescott. I'm telling you he is. He's living off Dak Prescott. Rena Zanguini said the Seahawks running back was out for the season. No problem, because the dude who came in behind him absolutely balled. The Seattle Seahawks, the backup running back for the Seattle Seahawks, he balled. No problem. They're going to do fine. Bass, Bo Nix is out. I think Denver loses. Man, the Bo Nix thing, man, it's a thing. It needs to be on the X-Files. It needs to be on the X-Files, bro. I'm just telling you now. It needs to be on the X-Files of how convenient it is how convenient it is that this dude gets hurt. All right, let's look at this next batch of players. So now we got another batch of players. Trayvon Diggs, Michael Parsons. I'm not really tripping on those two players. Houston Texans, Dalton Schultz. I think Dalton Schultz should have actually stayed with the Cowboys. Because y'all tell me what y'all think. But I'd take Dalton Schultz over Jake Ferguson. Y'all tell me what y'all think. I would take Dalton Schultz over Jake Ferguson. Dak Prescott ate the seams up with Dalton Schultz. Ate the seams up with Dalton Schultz. Now, problem with Dalton Schultz, he felt like he was a top 5 tight end and he should have got paid more money. I just wonder if the Cowboys could have gave him the Jake Ferguson deal. Because I would have taken Dalton Schultz with the Jake Ferguson deal over Jake Ferguson. Man, Ferguson has been nothing if we're being honest with ourselves. Jake Ferguson has been a disappointment. He has been a disappointment in the last 2 seasons. I would take Dalton Schultz. Now, Dalton Schultz wasn't an issue of us not using him right. Dalton Schultz was a pay issue. Damone Clark. I'm not sure what Damone Clark did. I don't know what Damone Clark did with the Houston Texans. All I can tell you is that the Houston Texans defense was incredible. I'd have to look up whatever happened with Damone Clark. Mr. Moonglade said, I miss Schultz, man. Every time I look at Ferguson, I'm like, I'd take Schultz. Schultz is way better. Ron Bowski said he don't know Jake Ferguson. He said he only know of Jake Turd Ferguson. Oh, man. Rod Curry, Jerry could have signed Michael early. But I'm going to tell you this, Rod Curry, I think that was all just a ploy because David Mulugeta had already said he wasn't going to let Michael Parsons sign early. Michael wanted to get paid before Dak and CD. And that wasn't going to happen either. That was not going to happen because you might would have lost Dak Prescott had you signed Michael Parsons before Dak Prescott. But let's keep going down the list of these players. And I think Jerry Jones finally admitted it. Jordan Lewis. It was a mistake to let Jordan Lewis go. The Cowboys kept stringing Jordan Lewis along, giving him these cheap deals, hoping nobody wouldn't want him so they could keep bringing him back and underpaying him. Jordan Lewis was a major contributor to the Jacksonville Jaguars this year. He's a major contributor. He's on injury reserve now, but he was a major contributor. I mean, you look at these players. I mean, and again, Jordan Lewis is another one of those issues of it was more of a money thing. And then, of course, Trey Lance, he went over to the Los Angeles Chargers. Now, these next two that I'm about to mention, and let me mention this one first. Somebody has got to explain to me. You got a linebacker problem. You have a linebacker problem on your team. Eric Kendricks was out there on the streets for anybody to take. And the Cowboys could have got Eric Kendricks. They could have brought him back on a dirt cheap deal. But instead of bringing back Eric Kendricks, the Cowboys instead, they went and got Kenneth Murray Jr. You're telling me Jack Sanborn is better than Kendricks? You got a linebacker problem, and you don't bring in Eric Kendricks. I don't know if y'all have watched these games that Eric Kendricks has been playing in since the 49ers got him off the street. All I can tell you is he's always around the ball. Eric Kendricks looked great for the 49ers, man. I don't understand the Cowboys in this and why they didn't keep Eric Kendricks or go back and get Eric Kendricks. I don't understand it. This isn't so much about the players that are in the playoffs. It's these players that the Cowboys absolutely could have used this season that are in this thing. Now, let me go back to the comment of let me get my name right here. Rod Curry. Let's go back to Rod Curry and the Michael Parsons, the Michael Parsons thing. I don't have a problem with the Michael Parsons thing. Because I think the Cowboys, I think there were a lot of players who didn't want Michael Parsons and were not really hurt when he left. But the problem with the Michael Parsons issue, you have got to do the Michael Parsons deal before you allow Jordan Lewis to get out of here and before you let DeMarcus Lawrence get out of here. You can't let DeMarcus Lawrence and Jordan Lewis go and trade Michael Parsons. You literally just let go a third of the defense. Michael Parsons didn't want DeMarcus Lawrence here. And this is how I know the Cowboys waited too late to trade Michael Parsons, but Michael Parsons and David Mulugeta are smart too. Because David Mulugeta and Michael Parsons wanted leverage on the Cowboys, and so they didn't try to make this push before the draft and during free agency. They waited They let it get late in the cycle, and then they started tripping on this contract even harder because they thought they had the leverage to say, well, who else you're going to get? All you're going to do is give us what we want, and Mike Parsons is going to stay in Dallas. And Jerry and Michael Parsons got too personal, got in their feelings, and both of them are gone. Or Michael Parsons is gone. I don't have a problem with Michael Parsons being gone. It was the timing. You cannot let Michael Parsons, you can't trade Michael Parsons that late in the cycle when you know you've already let go of DeMarcus Lawrence and you've already let J. Lou walk out the door. If you were going to let Michael Parsons walk, you should have kept J. Lou, and you definitely should have kept DeMarcus Lawrence, and you should have kept Eric Kendricks in the building. That's what you should have did. But I still don't understand. Why not Eric Kendricks? Why not Eric Kendricks? You were hurting bad at linebacker, and you don't bring in Eric Kendricks? Made no sense. Hey, Big Amish, but kept Mozzie, though. It makes no sense. The Cowboys even waited too long to trade Mozzie. Waited too long. Don't understand it. But I'm telling you, DeMarcus Lawrence, I believe, is about to laugh all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm not going to be surprised if Seattle beats the Rams. The Seattle Seahawks is just a complete team. They ended the 49ers. And let's use that as a segue for our last segment for tonight. They ended the 49ers on the opening play of the game. The Seattle Seahawks ended the 49ers on the first play of the game. That kickoff return, man, you want to talk about setting the tempo of a game? Man, the Seattle Seahawks came out the gate. They came out the gate and put the 49ers on notice. We about to beat the brakes off, y'all. They put them on notice out the gate. Put them on notice out the gate. Let's kind of run through these games real quick and then we're going to get out of here. They put them boys on notice. Let's kind of run through these. Run through these playoff scores and talk about some of the things in the game and relate those to the Cowboys. Because I'm sorry, I'm such a homer. I can't help but every time I watch these games, I can't help but relate them to the Cowboys. I just can't help. Every time I'm looking at them, I'm envisioning what the Cowboys could have done with their offense. And had we had even a middle of the pack defense of what this Cowboys team could have done and could still be doing in the playoffs. You read a couple of comments, then we're going to get to that last segment. Yeah, I still don't understand Stephon Gilmore, but nobody picked up Gilmore if I'm not mistaken. Uncle Charles in the building. He said now DeMarcus Lawrence, he's getting a chance to play in the NFC Championship game and go to a Super Bowl. So basically, you got to leave the Cowboys to go somewhere else to get to the NFC Championship game. Crazy work. Larry Golden said, don't you think we made other defenses look better because they knew what our offense was going to do? Larry Golden, you bring another good point. So somebody out there wrote an article about the Cowboys are looking at defensive coordinators that Dak Prescott struggled against. They're actually not looking at defensive coordinators that Dak Prescott struggled against. They're actually looking at people from the staff of the defensive coordinators that Dak Prescott struggled against. And so I'm not buying that this is why they're looking at those coaches per se. I'm not really buying that. It doesn't really make the most sense to me because Brian Schottenheimer, I don't consider him to be a great play caller. And so those teams where Dak Prescott struggled, I attribute that to bad play calling. Like when you think about the 2 games that George Pickens struggled in this year, I blame that on bad play calling and bad play design. So, that argument don't hold water. It don't hold water for me that people are saying this is what the Cowboys are doing. It don't hold water for me. Cowboys need to be out there getting them a defense because I'm not concerned about them stopping Dak Prescott. I'm concerned about them getting a defense that can stop the run and defend the pass. I'm not concerned about that. But that's a very good point. Teddy Drake, I think D-Law is going to make it to the Super Bowl. And I'll tell you this, man, DeMarcus Lawrence has had a heck of a year. This man has had a heck of a year. I'm telling you, he's had a heck of a career. Hold on a second. Big guy, what you said here? You said, can you explain to me how the San Francisco kicker was not disqualified for trying to slide with his spikes into the leg of the kickoff returner for Seattle, but luckily he missed. Hey, man, I don't know. Some of this stuff in the NFL playoffs with some of these refs it's been kind of crazy to me. Bass, yeah, they put a hurt on them Niners, boy. They put a hurt on them. They're too good. They're too good. Roderick, these playoff teams, these deep running playoff teams have a lot of depth. Yeah, because I'm telling you, the Seattle Seahawks running back went out the game, and I didn't even know he went out the game because the dude, what was his name, Wilson III? Man, that dude came in balling. Man. Jesus, this team has become a cheap team. Jerry's made us the flea market of the NFL. You got to change that, though, coming up. You got to change that. Bass said 2 1,000-yard receivers, 1 running back for 1,000 yards. Quarterback was top 2 in the league. Crazy defense, and 1 coach kept us from being there this year. Bass, I can't help it, man. Every time I'm looking at these playoffs, all I can think about is, boy, if the Cowboys could have got here with the offense they have, they would be doing some damage. Because one of the things that happened this week that was a little bit surprising, even though defense wins championships, some of the better offenses were able to score on these really good defenses, even though it took a lot of turnovers for them to do it. I mean, it did take a lot of turnovers for them to do it. But in the grand scheme of things, man, people talking bad about Sean McDermott. But I think Sean McDermott, I don't think people talking bad about him, but I think the Buffalo Bills are out of their doggone mind because, man, Sean McDermott scored 30 points on the Denver Broncos with 4 turnovers. Let that sink in. What? You scored 30 points on the Denver Broncos defense with turnovers? Man, Sean McDermott should have got a raise. I don't know what the Buffalo Bills thinking about. Man, Sean McDermott should have got a raise. Sean McDermott should have got a raise for that performance. Absolutely. 30 points and you commit 5. Actually, 3 interceptions, 2 fumbles. Sean McDermott shouldn't have got fired. He should have got a raise. Because if you can score 30 points on the Denver Broncos and still be within 3 points after your quarterback is responsible for 5 turnovers. No, Sean McDermott should have got a raise. Also, he said they let D-Law go for Michael. Also, you don't remember that? This is why they were into it. Michael didn't want D-Law here. Michael was complaining about the old ways of doing things and it's time for something new. Now I'm the leader. Yeah, he was talking about DeMarcus Lawrence. He was ready for that hot boys things to get out of here. Cowboys should have waited before they let go of D-Law. But it's crazy. Bass said give Dak a defense and Dak would not toss 4 interceptions with Pickens and Lamb. Ain't no way. I agree. So when you look at the Buffalo Bills game, I mean, the Denver Broncos, I give them credit for holding Buffalo to 30 points with 5 turnovers, but I also give Buffalo credit for scoring 30 points with 5 turnovers. Because imagine if they don't have the 5 turnovers. If Josh Allen don't turn the ball over 5 times, I'm sorry, but Denver's probably out of this thing. Denver is probably out of this thing. No doubt in my mind. Denver is out of this thing if they don't have them turnovers. And when I look at the Denver Broncos, and Bo Nix got that defense. Imagine Dak Prescott with Denver's defense. Imagine Dallas's offense with Denver's defense. There is no team that's going to turn the ball over 5 times against the Denver Broncos with the Dallas Cowboys offense. You turn that ball over 4 times, 5 times, you probably got routed. You probably got a 50 burger put up on you. You're not turning the ball over 5 times against a team like the Cowboys with that offense. You getting points put up on you if the Cowboys got a defense. They got to get Dak a defense. This game right here, though, forget the game with Josh Allen. No, I can't forget it because it was bad. They were equally bad. C.J. Stroud. What is going on with C.J. Stroud? He's looked terrible over the last 2 playoff games. He did everything he could do. He did everything he could do to give away the game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. The Pittsburgh Steelers, unfortunately, were just inept on offense. They just couldn't move the ball on offense because could they have moved the ball, they probably beat the Houston Texans because C.J. Stroud was trying to give the game away. I think he had 3 turnovers against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Came right back against the New England Patriots. Just boneheaded mistakes. Man, I understand you don't have your number 1 receiver and your tight end. But those were just bad throws. Bad throws. And when I look at the Houston Texans defense, which I think was the best defense in the playoffs. Problem with the Houston Texans, they don't have the best team in the playoffs. But they had the best defense in the playoffs, in my estimation. Even though the Seattle Seahawks, I believe, is the best defense in football. Man, I think that Houston Texans defense is equally as good, if not better. They're at home. It's a shame a defense that good is at home. It's a shame. You shouldn't be that good at home. This is the opposite of the Cowboys. Bass is saying, and I agree, you shouldn't have an offense as good as the Cowboys and be at home. You should have a defense as good as the Houston Texans and be at home. DeMeco Ryans, I know he's sick right now. I know he's got to be sick right now. We look at the other games. Seattle and San Francisco, it wasn't even a discussion. I knew that was going to be a massacre. They were just outmatched. They were just outmatched. There's just no get about it. There's nothing that you can say about it. They were outmatched. Seattle's just too good. The 49ers were decimated. You can only go so far missing those players. You could only go so far. So it's not even a discussion. I knew that was going to be a massacre. Rams and the Chicago Bears. This is the one I got to talk about. This is the one I got to talk about. Did anybody see this game? Did anybody watch the LA Rams versus the Chicago Bears? Anybody watch it? I got to put my foil hat on. I'm going to get me a foil hat next season. So whenever I see plays like what I saw against the Chicago, when I see those plays I saw in the Chicago Bears game, I can put my foil hat on. Can somebody explain to me how Caleb Williams makes one of the most incredible throws you'll ever see in your life? And I don't think he necessarily, I'm still struggling with the fact that he threw that ball with the intent of that play. But I just think he threw it to a spot to where I can't even take away from the play. Caleb Williams made one of the most incredible throws you will ever see in your life. He's running backwards, evades the tackle, and off of his back foot before he gets sacked, Caleb Williams makes one of the most incredible throws you'll ever see in your life. Touchdown. I said, what? I don't even know how to explain it. It was one of the most incredible throws you'll ever see in your life. Now, here's the part I don't understand. He comes right back and makes one of the dumbest throws you ever see in your life. Make it make sense. I'm watching this play on TV as it's developing. Caleb Williams, no pressure. No pressure at all. You can see the wide receiver for the Chicago Bears is making his break inward. But he makes the break inward. He's just making the break inward. And Caleb Williams throws the ball so far to the right. There is no way that wide receiver was going to get over there. There is no way that wide receiver can get to that ball. He throws it right to the defender for the doggone Rams. Make it make sense. Make it make sense. Caleb Williams, blessing and the curse. He'll make some throws that'll make your head spin. And then he'll make throws that make your head spin. He'll make throws you'll go, wow. And then he'll make throws you'll go, wow. It's Caleb Williams. It's Caleb Williams. This dude is he's just unpredictable. He is just unpredictable. And I get exactly what you're saying here, Rumbowski. Let me read Rumbowski. Because this is what me and my son, Rumbowski, he said, actually, as a great of a miracle play that was, I was more impressed early in the quarter when Caleb made a sidearm throw to the sideline. The zip he put on that, man, Rumbowski. Caleb Williams made multiple throws in that game that made you go, wow. But then he made a couple throws in that game that made you go, wow. he really threw that. I don't understand it. It was like somebody told him, it's not y'all time, throw an interception. I don't know any other way to put it. You can't make that throw. How do you make that throw? You're literally driving down the field and you're about to kick a field goal. Man, I'm sorry, man. I need my X-Files music, but they copyrighted me last time I used it. I need my X-Files music, y'all. I need my X-Files music. I can't. That throw by Caleb Williams, it don't make sense to me. I can't make sense of it. I could not make sense of it. How do you make that throw and some of the other throws he made? I mean, he made a throw to the sideline with somebody was on, they were in between the safety and the cornerback, and he made a throw, and I was like, wow. This dude is making incredible throws. And then that last throw. I don't understand it. And his reaction after he threw it, I didn't understand it. I didn't even understand his reaction. I mean, it was like he wasn't even disappointed. I don't understand. I don't understand it. It was an insane. You can't make the throw he made in the back of that end zone and then come back and make that bonehead throw. Stupid. I still say Ben Johnson is going to try to push him with the backup quarterback that's there. I still say Ben's going to try to push him. Big Run Bouncer said Caleb just needs to improve his accuracy on those touch throws from the short to middle range. Yes, Goff was great at those in Detroit when Ben Johnson was OC, and it's what Caleb needs to improve on. Man, Big Run Bouncer, let me tell you something. Boys, that's something tough to improve on. It is. Mr. 72 Chevelle, I don't understand it. I agree with you. Should have done shorter passes to get into the field goal distance. I don't understand it. It was like somebody said, don't win the game. I mean, it's literally like somebody said, don't win the game. That throw didn't make sense to me. It wasn't even the read. It didn't make sense to me. Somebody's got to tell him, hey, you can't get a turnover down here because all we need is a field goal. And we're already crossed the 50. We can't have a mistake right here. So I don't understand it. I don't understand it. It didn't make sense to me. Quentin Scott said the Chicago Bears game reminds me of the Dallas 2007 versus the Bills Monday night game. I don't understand it. Bass said Stafford had this one pass to Adams that was also crazy. Yeah, it was. Same way. Two defenders reaching to break it up. It just threaded it the way Adams' gloves. Yeah, Stafford made some great throws too. Ron Bowser says Cozy was in Chicago last night. I can't imagine how your hands must feel after catching the football with that zip on that sidearm throw. Man. I'm telling us. But as I've been watching these playoffs, I truly believe the Cowboys would be doing damage in these playoffs. I do. The Cowboys would literally have the best offense in these playoffs. They would literally have the best offense in this playoffs. I think they would be doing damage in this one. I do. I think they'd be doing damage. Roger B, I'm just gonna tell you, I need my foil hat, brother. I need my foil hat for that throw. Because I didn't understand that one. I just did not understand that one. I don't know what was going through Caleb Williams' mind. It didn't make sense to me. Hands were shattered in that snow. You know the ball felt like a brick. Yeah. All right, guys. Man, I am telling you, the more I watch these playoffs, the more I cry. I just think the Cowboys are good enough to do it. I do. I think they're good enough to do it. I think if the coaching improves, the Cowboys will be where they need to be. I'm still banking on 2026. I believe Jerry is going to go out there and get them. I think Jerry's going to bust the bank. I think he's going to bust the bank. This defensive coordinator is going to be the key to all things. And I'm telling us right now, whoever we get, understand that's who we got. There ain't no turning back. There will be no turning back. Rena said some people are saying that interception was DJ Moore's fault. Nah, it wasn't. Nah, that wasn't his fault. Not to me. Q-Town, I think it might be Seahawks versus the Patriots. I got to put my foil hat on again. Q-Town, you ready? I got to put my foil hat on again. The Bo Nix ankle injury. It's just crazy to me. And people are saying what play it happened on, but when you go back and look at the replay, I don't buy it. I don't buy it. But it is what it is. And immediately they announced, didn't even get a second opinion, didn't even try to do anything. They just said immediately, surgery on Tuesday. Dude, what? I need my 10 hat. Teddy Drake, I saw more. I know what you're talking about, but Caleb Williams, I saw Moore wasn't running full speed. So why would I lead him that far when I know he's not running full speed? Made no sense. Made absolutely no sense. Rombowski, Soldier Field on a cold January night is a fun watch on TV, so I can't understand the desire to want to leave. Man, I wouldn't want to play in the cold. Q-Town said, yeah, he was right, G. I was wondering why they was kicking a field goal on first down. Derrick Rose said, G, sounds like you're preaching the Super Bowl exists for the Cowboys. Yeah, we getting there. Yeah, we're going to be there next year. Jerry's going to get him the players. Just a matter of is this DC going to be right? Danny Lakers, Cowboys, let's go. He said we'll replace Brian Schottenheimer head coaching job. Well, we're going to see. Bad said Bo Nix is not good. And with him out, Denver should be out this next weekend coming. Yeah. Bo Nix they've already announced he's getting the doggone surgery. I don't even understand it. Rumbowski said they got x-ray machines at the stadiums. I'm guessing Bo probably snapped more than just one bone in his ankle. His walking was simply the adrenaline in the moment. Man, I'm struggling, Big Rumbowski. I got my full hat on. I'm struggling. Rennie said the Broncos defeated the Bills just to make things even easier for the Patriots. Isn't that crazy? Y'all do know they're trying to make Drake May into the next Tom Brady. I've already heard the comparisons. They were talking about it last night. They're already trying to make the comparisons. 7th easiest schedule in history. Herbert behind the league's worst offensive line. Stroud throwing 4 interceptions and Bo Nix out. Renan Zanguini, what did I tell you? What did I tell you, Renan Zanguini? Talent, health, and luck. The New England Patriots got all three. They got the trifecta. They got the trifecta. It's a great time to be in and this is why. This is why, Renan, it's even more egregious that Josh Allen didn't win. Best quarterback left in the AFC, bar none. Bar none. Best quarterback left in the AFC and get knocked out. Should have never let that game get into the hands of the referees. His call, he said the Cowboys would have the best offensive players, nor the play. The Cowboys would have the best offensive players, nor the play caller. Yeah. Not the play caller. Yeah, I see it. Yeah. Yeah. He would. Hey, I tell you, he probably struggled with that Seattle defense, and we already saw he struggled with that Chicago defense. But I think with the right defense, they can still beat those teams. But that's it for me today, guys. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll see what news comes down. The NFL is going crazy with news right now, so I'm sure there will be more news. And I got a strange feeling after the Jonathan Gannon interview, it's going to come out. Oh, Jonathan Gannon. It's down to Jonathan Gannon and Devontae Jones. You watch what I tell you. All right, guys. Appreciate y'all rocking with me. Until the next time, DC4L, God bless. Let's talk Cowboys and we talk facts. Peace.
Yo, G, bless him, bless him, bless him.